Chapter 210. Chu Xiang's house was a two-bedroom apartment of 80 square meters. There was a bedroom and a study. All the home furnishings were soft, and there were many green plants. The decorations were very warm. Chu Xiang didn't use her spiritual power. She was a little tired after going home from the hospital. Feng Zhenxuan helped her to sit on the bed and frowned slightly. It's too hard for you. Your health is important. If you can't do it, you can deal with these things tomorrow. Chu Xiang shook her head. No, the golden 24 hours is very important. And after this day, the popularity will die down. If I expose you again, it'll be like taking advantage of the popularity. It's very unpleasant. We must do it well today so that we can get the most benefits. Feng Zhenxuan helped her put the desk and laptop on the bed and said, Then I'll boil some water for you and make something to eat. Okay, sorry to trouble you. Chu Xiang looked up and saw his back. She had an idea. She picked up her phone and took a few photos of him. Feng Zhenxuan boiled water and looked back at her. Why did you come out? Chu Xiang waved the phone in her hand. I'm taking photos. Come, sit on the sofa and take a photo with a pillow. Feng Zhenxuan guessed that she might want to post it on the internet. Worried that she was tired, he quickly walked over and cooperated with her. Chu Xiang handed him a coffee cup. Go to the window, where the curtain is. Lean against the windowsill. Don't block the green plants on the windowsill. Then put one hand in your trouser pocket and hold the coffee cup with the other. Make a gesture of lowering your head to drink. Feng Zhenxuan had been a print model several times when he was working, so he had some experience in posing and making movements. It was easy for him to make the effect Chu Xiang wanted. Then Chu Xiang asked him to take a photo of her watering the flowers, a photo of her cooking in an apron, and a photo of her reading in a rattan chair with one hand supporting her head. Then she went back to bed and contacted the company. She had just arrived home, so her voice was still weak. I'm sorry for wasting everyone's time. Let's discuss the public relations process and quickly solve this matter. Chu Xiang didn't say it explicitly, but she implied that she would definitely put the company first and fully cooperate. The company considered that she still needed to rest, so after discussing the details, they said, This matter will be handled by the public relations and legal departments. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You sound tired. Have a good rest. Alright, sorry to trouble you guys. It's been a tiring day. I've ordered drinks and cakes for everyone. I'll get Lin to distribute them later. Thank you. When I return to the company, I'll treat everyone to a meal. Chu Xiang's voice was filled with gratitude, as if she was very grateful that they were willing to help her and not give up on her. She was too polite to the company, but everyone treated her well. Originally, this kind of thing would be very tiring, but now that one of the people involved expressed her gratitude, it made them feel a lot better. As long as Chen Lifeng, Chu Xiang, and Zhou Yuan were willing to speak in unison, public relations would be very simple. Chu Xiang didn't even need to say anything. After all, she was just an agent and a behind-the-scenes worker. It was fine if she didn't say anything, as long as the heat of this matter was reduced. So now, as long as Chen Lifeng posted on Weibo that he had officially changed his agent and congratulated Chu Xiang, hinting that the two of them had been good friends for many years, the good karma would be restored. Then the company would release a statement. Chu Xiang expressed her agreement with this plan. Then, she took this good opportunity to call President Liang and tell him that she wanted to make Feng Zhenxuan popular. President Liang had long known that she wanted this good-looking artist to prove herself, so he had no objections. He even said, Don't worry, the company won't forget what you've done for the company all these years. Now that you have a new person in your hands, as long as there are no problems, the company's resources will also be fine. If he really has the potential to be popular, the company will of course fully support you. Chu Xiang smiled and said, Thank you for being so considerate, President Liang. This matter really made me feel the warmth and coldness of the world. Some people who get along well with me usually avoid me, but Feng Zhenxuan and my colleagues in the company also love and help me. I'm really touched. If others treat me well, I will definitely return it 10 times in the future. President Liang, when I'm free in a few days, I'll do my best to make Feng Zhenxuan popular and make money for the company. Everyone liked to be thanked and liked to hear good words. President Liang was in a good mood when he heard that. He even laughed out loud. You speak as if the company only wants to make money. The company has always been a very humane company. It's different from other places. If you really make this newcomer popular, you'll definitely get a year-end bonus. Do a good job. Then I'll thank President Liang first. I'll definitely get the big red packet at the end of the year. President Liang, I have a presumptuous request. You see, I'm at my most down and out now, right? Last night, I almost lost my life. If Fang Zhenxuan hadn't happened to see me and carefully guarded me when I was unconscious, I might not have been able to wake up today. Oh, there's such a thing? This guy has a good heart. Then you should thank him properly. President Liang thought about her words and asked, Your presumptuous request is about Fang Zhenxuan? What's the matter? Chu Xiang smiled and said, President Liang, it's not a big deal. It's just that he's a newcomer, right? He hasn't signed a contract with the company yet. I just found out that he's also the president of the law school's student union. He's a top student. If it weren't for some things that made him decide to enter the entertainment industry, he would definitely be a social elite. His character and qualities are very good. I'm very optimistic about him. I want him to have a sense of belonging to our company and climb up steadily. So I was thinking, can you give him a preferential contract? The same as Chun Lifeng's? I'm confident that he'll definitely bring enough benefits to the company. The same contract as Chun Lifeng's? Chu Xiang, I can't even tell what kind of development this newcomer has. You're really treating him well. President Liang didn't feel unhappy. Instead, he felt that Chu Xiang was a very sentimental person. From Chun Lifeng's case, it could be seen that Chu Xiang cared about their many years of friendship. She had never targeted Chun Lifeng and was still thinking about the company. Now, because of Fang Zhenxuan's overnight care and the trust of being her artist, she was fighting for a preferential contract for him. Such a sentimental employee was always likable, especially since Chu Xiang had never caused trouble for the company. This quality was even more precious. In the entertainment industry, benefits were paramount. President Liang preferred people with true temperament. Moreover, he thought about it. Chun Lifeng's current contract was for 2 years. He would take 30% of the profits for the company and 10% for his manager. Although such a contract was too good for a newcomer, how much money could a newcomer earn in 2 years? It was still unknown whether Chu Xiang could make him popular. Now that Chu Xiang had suffered a great grievance and was still thinking about the company, it didn't matter if he did her a favor. Chu Xiang's subtle influence had an effect. The people in the company, including President Liang, had a very good impression of her. President Liang actually agreed to her request without much consideration. Chu Xiang's voice was full of gratitude. President Liang, thank you so much. I can't wait to show you the results. Don't worry, we won't let you down. President Liang laughed and said, Okay, I'll wait for your results. You should take care of your body first. There are other companies to take care of. Okay, thank you, President Liang. After Chu Xiang finished communicating with President Liang, she immediately contacted the Human Resources Department and asked Lin to prepare Fang Zhenxuan's contract and her agency contract while going through the process of changing managers. Although Lin was one of the assistants that the original owner found for Chun Lifeng, Lin and the original owner were from the same orphanage. She was very obedient to the original owner, and Chun Lifeng didn't like her very much. Especially during this period of time, Chun Lifeng secretly contacted Li O and Zhou Yuan and avoided Lin. So Lin was now on Chu Xiang's side. Chu Xiang trusted her very much. Chun Lifeng was afraid that Chu Xiang would go back on her words, so he had to wait for the contract to be finalized before he made a statement. The company wanted to do public relations as soon as possible, so they handled the contract quickly. Naturally, Fang Zhenxuan's contract was also completed. After Lin distributed drinks and cakes to everyone in the company, she immediately took the contract to Chu Xiang's house and asked them to sign it. Then she rushed back to the company to record the contract, and the process was completed. Chun Lifeng posted on Weibo immediately. Chun Lifeng v. Today I'm separated from my partner for many years, Chu Xiang. I'm grateful for the past journey together, and I wish for better development in the future. Our ideas are different, but our friendship is still there. I hope we can both live well. My new manager Lee, oh brother, let's make a name for ourselves in the future. After the incident had been brewing for a while, Chen Lifeng posted again, and it immediately attracted everyone's attention. When everyone saw his World Peace Weibo, the first reaction of the fans was anger. Xingchen Entertainment is inhumane. They force Feng Feng to post such a Weibo for a manager. Come out and die. Chu Xiang is really good at seducing people. She must have someone in the upper management of the company, right? This bias is too obvious. I have insider information. This public relations was ordered by the general manager of Xingchen. Look at this Liang Donghui. He's 50 years old, but he's already old enough to be her father. How shameless. Photo, a look at this photo. Bald, beer belly and ugly. Chu Xiang can't bear to eat him. Ugh. Fans were never afraid of anything. Many of them stood up for their idols and attacked the company without caring about the consequences. Or perhaps, many of them didn't know the consequences at all and followed the trend to attack. Someone posted a photo of Mr. Liang. It was quite blurry, and it might have been a problem with the angle. It really didn't look good. Then they cursed and imagined that there was something going on between Chu Xiang and Mr. Liang. Their malice toward Chu Xiang made them able to say such irresponsible things. They had always believed in all the scandals, and they also believed that Chen Lifeng's previous Weibo post was a tacit admission that Chu Xiang was pestering him. Now, Chen Lifeng posted such a peaceful Weibo, as if he and Chu Xiang had only separated because of differences in development ideas, as if they were still friends. This was definitely a public relations document requested by the company. The company was too disgusting. The fans felt sorry for Chen Lifeng. They were a little tired of scolding, but they put on their armor again and spared no effort to attack the company, Chu Xiang, and the darkness of the entertainment industry. The passers-by were speechless. They couldn't understand the fans' behavior. Chen Lifeng was still a member of the company. Weren't they afraid of making things difficult for Chen Lifeng by attacking the general manager of the company? The fact that Chen Lifeng could post this Weibo showed that he had compromised. No matter why he compromised, the fans shouldn't go against him. The fans scolded Chu Xiang and Mr. Liang without any evidence, which made the passers-by even more disgusted. What kind of quality was this? They didn't even have any evidence. Did they just make up a crime based on their imagination? Wasn't this just slander? While the passers-by were speaking justice and the fans were scolding, the official Weibo account of Cixin Welfare Institute posted a Weibo post. Cixin Welfare Institute v. Chu Xiang is a kind girl who walked out of our welfare institute. She is strong, brave, optimistic, and positive. She has excellent grades since she was young, and when she grew up, she worked hard to give back to society. The scolding and news on the internet are shocking. We don't believe that it's true. Chu Xiang has always been kind to the world. We hope that the world will be kinder to her. There were 18 pictures attached to the Weibo post. There were awards that Chu Xiang had left in the Welfare Institute, records of her dozens of donations over the years, photos of her playing with the children and smiling gently, and photos of her helping with work while covered in dirt. Chu Xiang lost her family when she was young and grew up in Cixin Welfare Institute. The people in the Welfare Institute were very good. After she started working, she had been working hard to give back. Over the years, she had donated more than 10 million yuan to the Welfare Institute. The netizens didn't expect Chu Xiang to be an orphan and donate so much money to the Welfare Institute. The photos of her not being afraid of dirt and tiredness were even more touching. This made some of the people who scolded her find their conscience and silently silence. The passers-by who originally supported her even more. They felt that the vulgar words that the fans scolded Chu Xiang were unbearable. This Weibo post was quickly forwarded. The Welfare Institute was definitely a protective umbrella that could have a good effect at any time. However, there were only a few ways to whitewash people in the entertainment industry. The fans knew a lot about it. Many fans combined the Weibo post that Chen Lifeng was forced to post and the Weibo post about the Welfare Institute. The first thing that came to their minds was that the company was helping Chu Xiang whitewash her reputation. Some people questioned the authenticity of the photos of the Welfare Institute. Some people scolded Chu Xiang for using charity to whitewash her reputation. Some people scolded the company for supporting Chu Xiang. Their anger seemed to have reached its peak. This was because they felt that Chu Xiang was blurring the focus, deceiving the public, and wronging their beloved Chen Lifeng. The head of the public relations department sent a message in the 6-person group. Chu Xiang, did you really donate so much money to the Welfare Institute? This Weibo post is real, right? Did you ask them to post it? Of course, it was Chu Xiang who asked them to do it. It was okay to do good deeds without leaving a name, but it was also good to leave a name. It should let people know that the kindness of the original owner was real. However, she was a low-key agent who only thought about the company and didn't cause trouble. There were some things that she couldn't admit. She replied, I just received a call from the Welfare Institute. A sister who grew up with me saw the trending topic and felt that it was unfair for me. The content is real. A few people in the group sent her emojis with 0 likes. Chu Xiang. It's just that Chen Lifeng's fans are even more agitated. I'm sorry. If they continue to cause trouble like this, it will definitely affect Chen Lifeng's popularity. It will also affect the company's image and CEO Liang's image to a certain extent. It's not good. The head of the public relations department immediately replied, Who isn't? Her imagination is really unparalleled. Even CEO Liang was implicated. She even said that the company is biased towards you. If they were really biased towards you, this matter would have been resolved long ago. Aren't they just protecting their beloved Feng Feng by doing all this? I'm speechless. Chu Xiang. How about this? I've been doing charity all these years. Other than the Welfare Institute, I've also built a hope school and donated money to many disaster areas. I've also donated supplies to the mountainous areas. I'll contact them and see if I can get them to speak up. Charity is a good image. One thing might not be a big deal, but many of them represent positive energy. No matter how irrational Chen Lifeng's fans are, after seeing that I've done so much charity, they can't scold me anymore. They also know that this will bring criticism to Chen Lifeng. If this news is released, the company's statement will mention that the company cooperates with its employees to give back to society. The impact on the company's image will be gone. What do you think? A few people in the group discussed and felt that it was feasible. The fans believed that the company was biased towards Chu Xiang, and it would take at least 7 to 8 hours to scold her. Wouldn't it be a joke to implicate the company? Even if CEO Liang didn't say anything as his subordinates, they had to remove CEO Liang from this as soon as possible. Otherwise, what was the meaning of public relations? They would drag the general manager into the water and get scolded. Public welfare was definitely the best protection, especially since Chu Xiang had actually done so many public welfare projects. Those who knew which district Chu Xiang lived in were enlightened. No wonder Chen Lifeng had earned so much money while Chu Xiang had been living in an old district. It turned out that all the money she had earned had been donated. Chu Xiang's image in their hearts was raised by another level. Such a person would never pester Chen Lifeng for so many years and try to destroy other people's feelings. At this point, after the people in the company exchanged information, no one believed the rumors on the internet. Instead, they looked down on Chen Lifeng. After the company agreed, Chu Xiang asked the people she had contacted to post on Weibo according to the time. Some mountainous areas and places even had proof of donation from the government official Weibo. The original owner did do a lot of good deeds. She didn't care about beauty. The only person she loved was Chen Lifeng. She worked hard for Chen Lifeng's career. Other than that, her favorite thing to do was to do charity. Perhaps it was because she felt the warmth of the orphanage and felt that she was very lucky. She also wanted to pass on her love to others, so she donated most of her savings to various places. At this time, the company finally released a statement. The words in the statement were very official, but there was no ambiguity at all. It was very clear that Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang had no grudges. The separation was just a normal job transfer for the better development of both parties. It also pointed out that Chu Xiang, like everyone else, only found out about Chen Lifeng's relationship 3 years ago. There was nothing to destroy their relationship. In the future, Chen Lifeng's new agent would be Liu, and Chu Xiang's artist would be the newcomer Fang Jinshuan. The statement also said that the company would not be partial to anyone. The artists and agents were moving forward on the right path, promoting positive energy and giving back to society with kindness. As for the netizens who spread rumors and slandered the company's personnel, the company would take legal measures to protect the rights of the company's personnel. Chen Lifeng's fans had already become a mess. After the big fans saw Chu Xiang's charity data, they immediately called on the scattered fans to stop attacking Chu Xiang. Of course, their method was to focus on themselves and not give Chu Xiang any popularity. They did not need to care about people like Chu Xiang. Some fans immediately fell silent when they saw that Chu Xiang's donations had reached 30 million yuan. They felt that it would be strange to continue scolding. There were also some extreme fans who believed that these donations were fake and went around to check. When they found out that it was real, they felt that the money Chu Xiang donated must be a part of her savings. As an agent, her expenses were definitely not low. She donated so much money and still had so much savings. If she was not sucking Chen Lifeng's blood, what was she doing? They absolutely could not let this go. So they continued to scold. However, as the number of people decreased, the popularity gradually decreased. At this time, the people who continued to scold were the most extreme fans. It was as if they had lost their minds. They did not know that they were disliked by the entire internet, and they did not know that their words and sentences were slandering Chen Lifeng. However, no matter what, the popularity finally decreased. The focus shifted to Chu Xiang's charity work. No one scolded the company and CEO Liang anymore. As for destroying Chen Lifeng's popularity, it had already been destroyed before. Now that the popularity had decreased, the impact was still there. There were no other losses. This was already considered the best outcome. Originally, after the PR, there was nothing much to do. Who could be blamed for Chen Lifeng's fans causing trouble? Chen Lifeng had not come out to appease the fans. Who could be blamed for the loss of popularity? The colleagues in the company did not show it on the surface, but in their hearts, they felt that Chen Lifeng deserved it. Anyway, it was not a serious injury. As long as Chen Lifeng's resources were good enough, the impact of this matter would not be big. After the company meeting, they decided that this matter was over. Everyone began to prepare to leave. There were fewer people scolding Chu Xiang, and there were more people praising Chu Xiang. Many passers-by were amazed that someone had done so many good deeds in secret. If it was not for the fact that the entire internet was attacking her, no one would have known. There was no concrete evidence for Chu Xiang's scandals. They were all specious. However, these charity works were all solid evidence. Chu Xiang's popularity skyrocketed. As a behind-the-scenes worker, she might gradually be forgotten by the public if Chu Xiang did not show up. However, at this moment, these people who had a good impression of her had become her protective wall. They protected her firmly and did not allow her to be harmed by the outside world. When a very powerful PR expert in the industry saw this development, he secretly sighed and said that the PR was done well. He had successfully pulled Chu Xiang out of the mire. As for the others who were not PR experts, they could not understand Chu Xiang's operation at all. They only felt that it was fortunate that Chu Xiang had done so much charity work and was able to remain calm. Fortunately, her reputation was preserved. The way things had developed was too different from what Chen Lifeng and the others had expected. The three of them were in a bad mood. Liu grumbled. Why didn't you do so much charity work earlier? Chen Lifeng felt even more uncomfortable. I didn't know about this at all. Hearing this, Zhou Yuan felt much more at ease. She felt that if Chen Lifeng didn't even know about this, then he and Chu Xiang really weren't that close. She advised, forget it. In any case, it's not harmful to us. At least the crisis of our relationship being exposed has been resolved, and we've even obtained a good resource. Chen Lifeng frowned and said, the company seems to be a little unhappy with me. Zhou Yuan laughed when she heard this. What's wrong with that? Anyway, you have less than a year left on your contract. When the time comes, you can come and invest in my studio. Isn't it better than stars? When Chen Lifeng thought of the help Zhou Yuan could provide him, his frown relaxed and he smiled. The three of them clinked glasses to celebrate their advantage. Then they planned to rest. After this whole thing, they were all exhausted. Chen Lifeng would occasionally think about how Chu Xiang was not that transparent with him. It was as if Chu Xiang did not love him that much. He felt a little stifled in his heart. However, he did not show it. In the future, he would continue to climb up the ranks of Best Actor. Chu Xiang had not completely cleared her name, and could only rely on Xian Rao as her manager. They were no longer on the same level, so there was no need to care too much about it. After work ended, Liu went home. Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan started a candlelight dinner. The fans were also gradually preparing to leave. Chu Xiang was also in the group, and was going to sleep with the others. Just when everyone thought that this matter was over, several new sets of photos were suddenly released on various marketing accounts. The topic hashtag Chu Xiang pestering Chen Lifeng solid evidence hashtag soared to the top of the trending searches at the fastest speed. The two words solid evidence were too eye-catching. Those who scolded Chu Xiang, those who helped Chu Xiang, and those who were just here to watch the show immediately clicked on it. There were a total of 20 photos, all of which were photos of Chu Xiang and Chen Lifeng together. The fans were all excited and quickly reposted various Weibo posts, cursing Chu Xiang with pride. The solid evidence was here. The photos were taken from 2 years after Chen Lifeng's debut to 10 years after his debut. The span was so big. Look at how Chu Xiang pestered Chen Lifeng. Chen Lifeng could not take it anymore, and that was why he replaced Chu Xiang. The company was also dragged out by the fans and scolded. Such solid evidence was enough to prove that the company was biased and had wronged their phone. These photos were sent out in several batches. Chu Xiang used some means to change the IP address, so that these photos looked like they were from different cities. Some of them were even sent out from abroad. The reason was that Chen Lifeng's fans could not stand it anymore, and found the evidence with difficulty to find out the truth. In these photos, there were photos of Chen Lifeng walking in front, and Chu Xiang holding his arm. There were photos of Chen Lifeng lowering his head, and Chu Xiang feeding him water. There were photos of Chen Lifeng without any expression and Chu Xiang smiling at him. Looking at the photos and the concept of Chu Xiang pestering Chen Lifeng, and being hated by Chen Lifeng, it was quite plausible. However, in just half an hour, more than 30 photos were released one after another. From different angles, it could be seen that Chu Xiang was feeding Chen Lifeng water because Chen Lifeng was reading the script and his hands were stained with blood, so he could not drink by himself. There were photos of Chen Lifeng lowering his head and cooperating with Chu Xiang wrapping her scarf around him. Chu Xiang's face was red from the cold and her neck was exposed. Chen Lifeng was smiling at Chu Xiang. It was obvious that Chu Xiang was good to Chen Lifeng, and Chen Lifeng did not hate her. There were photos where the two of them were so close that it seemed like Chen Lifeng was kissing Chu Xiang's face. Upon closer inspection, it was Chen Lifeng who was smiling and whispering into Chu Xiang's ear. How did this look like he hated her? There were photos of Chu Xiang dodging and Chen Lifeng wiping cake on her face with one hand and smiling. Chen Lifeng had one hand on Chu Xiang's shoulder and looked down at her with a smile. Chen Lifeng was holding soup in his hand and feeding it to Chu Xiang. Chen Lifeng lifted Chu Xiang up, and Chen Lifeng was panicking. Chen Lifeng was holding a half-eaten fishball skewer and handing it to Chu Xiang. There were more than 30 photos that appeared after that, and all of them were full of ambiguity. They were a couple, so everyone believed that the smile on Chen Lifeng's face was not fake. How intimate was it to feed her soup and give her a half-eaten skewer, whispering in her ear, holding her shoulder, and lifting her up? If they were not a couple, what were they? Whether it was fans or passers-by, they were all dumbfounded. What was this? Chu Xiang was Chen Lifeng's secret girlfriend? These photos spanned 8 years, and the most recent photo with a date was from 2 months ago. Then what was going on with Zhou Yuan? Was this Chu Xiang trying to ruin their relationship? Based on first come, first served, could it be that Zhou Yuan came between Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang's relationship? Otherwise, why would Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang break up all of a sudden? 2 months ago, they looked at each other and smiled. Only a 3-sided knife could cause such a situation, right? The word complicated at the end of this trending search turned into explosive. Wasn't it explosive? This reversal was even more powerful than the previous public service. If Chu Xiang was really Chen Lifeng's girlfriend, then Chen Lifeng had been lying to his fans for so many years. And if Zhou Yuan was really a threesome, then her good reputation from a child star to a movie queen was completely destroyed. Also, with Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan's characters, these photos did not look like Chu Xiang did anything wrong to them. Who were they implying in that Weibo post? Wasn't it too much to bully others? The passers-by basically believed that Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan had betrayed Chu Xiang. Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan's fans were anxious. On one hand, it was impossible to control the comments and the photos, and on the other hand, they sent private messages to Chen Lifeng, Zhou Yuan and their managers, asking them to clarify the situation. The fans found a large number of ambiguous photos and edited videos. They wanted to make sure that the photos were not accurate. If the two of them had nothing to do with each other, they could still edit the photos to make it seem like they were in a deep relationship. Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang were definitely not lovers. It was impossible for them to betray their relationship. But Chen Lifeng's girlfriend fans, 2 days ago, they were sad when Chen Lifeng's relationship was exposed. Because they hated Chu Xiang, their mentality of protecting Chen Lifeng took the upper hand. That was why they united to scold Chu Xiang and supported Chen Lifeng. They did not even care that Chen Lifeng was in a relationship. And just when they were tired and wanted to sleep after a fight, they suddenly saw the proof that Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang had been in a relationship for 8 years. How was this Chu Xiang pestering Chen Lifeng? No matter how they looked at these photos, it was Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang being sweet. Chen Lifeng was so close to Chu Xiang. The feeling of being deceived made them feel very humiliated. And the fact that their favorite idol was in a relationship stimulated them again. The anger that had been transferred was all transferred back. And it increased tenfold. They were now scolding Chu Xiang and Zhou Yuan for not being good enough for Chen Lifeng, and questioning why Chen Lifeng hid his relationship. They cried and shouted that they did not want Chen Lifeng to be in a relationship. They also condemned Chen Lifeng for deceiving them, and letting them down for their support over the years. The passers-by were not interested in arguing with them. They felt like they were watching a big show. The backlash came quickly and fiercely. The phones of the relevant personnel were blowing up. Chen Lifeng's face turned green and white when he saw the photos. He had never seen these photos before. Where did they come from? Zhou Yuan saw that Chen Lifeng had been so close to Chu Xiang over the years. She was so angry that she picked up a wine glass and splashed red wine on Chen Lifeng's face. She picked up her purse and did not listen to Chen Lifeng's explanation. She rushed back to the studio to have a meeting with the team. Initially, she had only wanted to do public relations for a relationship. She had schemed a little to get rid of Chu Xiang. But she had not expected that she would be implicated in the end. How could her gentle and kind persona be replaced by 3 people? If this matter was not handled well, her career would be affected. Chen Lifeng was called by Li O and the company one after another. They asked him if the relationship was real, and what was going on with those photos. He firmly denied that there was any relationship. It was all based on the photos and they were not that close. Then he called Chu Xiang an annoyance. He suddenly remembered that Chu Xiang had mentioned many years ago that she had bought photos from the paparazzi. These photos were definitely Chu Xiang's doing. Chu Xiang picked up the phone as if nothing had happened. Best actor Chen, what's the matter? Chen Lifeng angrily questioned. You were the one who released those photos. Are you trying to ruin me? When did you get those photos? Chu Xiang did not admit it at all. How could I have those photos on the internet? I don't know which kind-hearted person released them and destroyed the rumor that I was pestering you. Chen Lifeng, there's a classic saying, what people do is seen. Between you and me, you know very well who has wronged the other. You have no right to question me. From now on, we will be just like you. I advise you not to waste your energy on me. Think of a way to deal with PR yourself. With that, Chu Xiang hung up and blocked all of Chen Lifeng's contact details. Feng Lizha handed her a glass of warm water and asked, Is it over? Rest early? Chu Xiang shook her head. Not yet. How could a fan give up so easily? Sure enough, within half an hour, a few of Chen Lifeng's big fans called on his fans to repost Weibo. The Weibo post was filled with photos of Chu Xiang interacting with other male actors on different occasions. None of them were too overboard, but there were some that looked at each other and smiled, and some that were closer to each other. Among them, the warm photos of her at the hospital with Fang Jinshuan and Xian were all posted. They pointed out that she might already have a child, and that she looked closer to Fang Jinshuan. She was obviously going around flirting with men, trying to get benefits from both sides. This was also a method that could not be considered a solution. It was to destroy Chu Xiang's reputation and shift the focus. However, among the passers-by, there were also people who really liked Chu Xiang more and more. There were also all kinds of talents. They quickly found some photos of Chen Lifeng with other female actors, and Zhou Yuan with other male actors. These photos were all a bit ambiguous. They were all smiling or having physical contact. Wasn't it just looking at pictures? Who wouldn't know how to do that? They were all in the entertainment industry. Even Chu Xiang's photos could be found, let alone Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan. If Chu Xiang's photos could prove that Chu Xiang was flirting with men everywhere, then Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan's photos could also prove that one of them liked to flirt with girls, and the other liked to flirt with men, who was afraid of hurting each other. This situation became a pot of porridge. The passers-by were fine. They were completely in the mood of watching a show. Moreover, Chu Xiang was the victim. No matter what the reason was, they were right to help Chu Xiang. They were not in a hurry. Instead, they felt more and more that helping Chu Xiang was right. Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan's fans were getting more and more confused. They urgently needed a law and a truth. They were fighting among themselves. Even the fans of the two actors were fighting. Their CP fans were also seriously affected. The colleagues of the company's public relations department were all called back to the company to deal with the emergency. Chu Xiang denied that she was the one who caused the trouble. She had been fully cooperating with the company's image, so no one suspected her too much. Moreover, how could a person who had just been rescued and was so weak cause so much trouble? Not likely. Now, everyone was even more disgusted with Chen Lifeng, who had caused the trouble at the beginning. He could change his manager if he wanted to. It was a very easy thing to deal with in the company. Was he crazy to make such a big deal out of it? Now it was out of control. His image would definitely be damaged, and his commercial value would definitely be affected. This was a real crisis. It was more serious than the previous relationship exposure. He had really gone for wool and come home shorn. Chen Lifeng was called by President Liang and reprimanded. He was more aggrieved than anyone else. He called Chu Xiang but could not get through. He could not believe that Chu Xiang, who had cried and drank for him just a moment ago, would be so heartless. For a moment, he felt that Chu Xiang did not love him at all. His previous complacency seemed to be unrequited love. It was clearly a matter that he was confident of winning. It was a matter that he wanted to take advantage of. Now he suddenly suffered such a big loss. He did not know how many fans he would lose and how many resources he would lose. He was so aggrieved that he felt like a huge rock was pressing on his chest. However, it was useless now. He now only hoped that the company would accept Chu Xiang's cooperation and help him clarify that the two of them were just friends. He had caused the trouble himself. He had to beg and beg to solve it. Chapter 211. As Zhou Yuan's public image had always been very good, the suspected affair attracted a lot of attention as soon as it came out. The netizens only felt that this time, it seemed that the best actor and best actress had both failed at the same time. Some people even dug out Zhou Yuan's Weibo post and took it out of context. She probably wasn't talking about herself when she said, "Outstanding people always have many suitors." Chen Lifeng was obviously a couple with Chu Xiang. Zhou Yuan probably thought that Chen Lifeng was outstanding and hooked him up. Chen Lifeng's Weibo post, "People are not necessarily good karma," was also about himself, right? He betrayed Chu Xiang. How could this be good karma? Chen Lifeng's betrayal of Chu Xiang and Zhou Yuan became more and more serious. Everyone called them out for an explanation. Weren't they quite capable before? Chen Lifeng even did it twice. Why not now? Not only did everyone call them out, but they also asked Chu Xiang to stand up. They told her not to be afraid, and to speak up if she had any grievances. Everyone would help her get justice. The trending searches that insulted Chu Xiang had already fallen. Now Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan were the ones occupying the headlines. In a short period of time, this matter had a shocking reversal. The netizens expressed their admiration, and there were also those who wanted them to tear each other apart. It was so cool to expose each other's dirty secrets. They were happy to watch the show. Feng Zhenxuan was by Chu Xiang's side, and was the one who knew the ins and outs of the matter the best. He couldn't help but sigh when he saw this. Sister manager is really capable. She's so weak, but she can still control the situation and make a perfect counterattack. I admire her. Chu Xiang stretched her back and slowly moved her neck. She smiled and said, "You'll have a chance to admire her in the future." Xian, are you sleepy? It's late. You should go back. It was already late at night. Xian really should go to bed. Feng Zhenxuan glanced at the living room. Xian was hugging a pillow and watching TV on the sofa. It wasn't good for a child to watch TV for too long. However, Chu Xiang had been busy and her face was very pale. It was worrying to see her. He hesitated and said, "Did Lin, who sent the contract, come to take care of you? Or did you find a friend?" Chu Xiang felt that she really didn't have much strength left. If she didn't want to consume her spiritual power, she would have to find someone to take care of her. But Lin had spent a lot of time with the original owner of the body. If she walked too close to the original owner of the body, she would feel uncomfortable. She didn't want to pretend that she wasn't feeling well. After thinking about it, she looked at Feng Zhenxuan. Feng Zhenxuan revealed a puzzled expression. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Chu Xiang smiled. "You see, it's not convenient to call anyone in the middle of the night, and it's not appropriate to let too many people know what I'm doing. How about?" Feng Zhenxuan immediately understood. "You want me to stay here?" Chu Xiang nodded. "This is a double bed. Let Xin sleep with me tonight. The sofa is also very big and comfortable. You won't be tired sleeping there. It just so happens that your house is close by. You can take a look at my follow-up arrangements later. It's also convenient for you to go home tomorrow. What do you think?" Feng Zhenxuan looked around, and his first reaction was that he had never lived in a girl's house before. Then he thought about it. He was taking care of Chu Xiang. Wasn't it the same as keeping vigil in the hospital ward? There didn't seem to be anything wrong with it. He touched the back of his neck, pursed his lips and nodded. "Okay, then I'll go back and get some things first. I'll be right back." "Okay, go ahead." Chu Xiang responded with a smile, and began to call people in a good mood. Feng Zhenxuan saw that she looked like she was about to faint at any moment, but she was also like a brave warrior. The two completely different temperaments collided and blended together so perfectly. He couldn't help but laugh. He told Xin to take good care of Chu Xiang, then ran all the way home. His house was indeed very close, and he ran back in 5 or 6 minutes. He quickly changed, then packed the things that Xin needed, and quickly ran back to Chu Xiang's house. When he came back, Chu Xiang had just finished a call. Chu Xiang saw him and put down her phone. "The first film is done. I'll be joining the cast tomorrow." Feng Zhenxuan was stunned and almost suspected that he was hallucinating. "What did you just say? Did I hear it wrong? You're asking me to start filming tomorrow?" Chu Xiang tilted her head and looked like she was watching a good show. "Why? Are you scared?" "No. This is too fast." Feng Zhenxuan scratched his head and pulled a chair to sit beside Chu Xiang's bed. He looked at her and asked, "I just signed the contract today, and I have a film tomorrow? What kind of film is it? Are the requirements so low?" Chu Xiang was amused by him. She patted his face gently with her phone and said with a smile, "The requirements are high. If you weren't so handsome, you wouldn't have been able to get it. It's mainly because of the photos taken secretly in the hospital. The director thinks that your smile, your temperament, your figure, and your looks are very suitable for the role. So he asked you to make a cameo. Audition tomorrow." Feng Zhenxuan finally understood. Audition? That makes sense. There are usually a lot of people competing for auditions. When you joined the cast just now, I thought. Chu Xiang looked at him. "You were right. It's just an audition. It's only an audition. My people can't even pass such a simple audition? Where am I supposed to put my face? The words "my people" made Fang Zhenxuan's ears burn. He thought for a moment. I'm quite confident in my field, but I really haven't acted before. If you think so highly of me, then I'll practice again and again tonight. Do you know what the audition is about? I don't know, but I can guess. As Chu Xiang spoke, she had already found the original story of the Xianxia drama. She searched for the role Fang Zhenxuan was going to audition for and quickly browsed through it. She used to be a web author. She analyzed the main plot, outline, and character quickly and accurately. Soon, she typed out the character biography in the document. Then, she quickly listed 2 scenes and printed them out for Fang Zhenxuan to see. The audition will definitely pick one of these 2 scenes. Practice well. It's best to familiarize yourself with the character first. Then it'll be easier to grasp it. Chu Xiang patted his arm and smiled. Don't worry. Think about it yourself first. I'll teach you when I'm done with this. You know how to act. Fang Zhenxuan raised his head and looked at Chu Xiang in surprise. Chu Xiang shrugged. I know very well. It's more than enough to guide you, so don't worry. I'm not worried. Fang Zhenxuan felt really relieved. He coaxed Xinxin to sleep and put her on the bed. Then he went to the living room and repeatedly practiced his expressions and movements in front of the dressing mirror. Chu Xiang made another round of phone calls. It would be a waste not to use it when it was popular. Otherwise, it would abandon you sooner or later. The company called her, but she was always on the phone. Zheng Chun Lifeng was blocked by her, and she didn't pick up when he called her from an unknown number. In the end, he couldn't contact her and could only send her text messages, bombarding her with text messages to make her cooperate with him. Chu Xiang didn't even look at it and directly deleted it. Until she found out from others that Chun Lifeng was in contact with a top variety show. This resource was pulled by Zhou Yuan. It was an outdoor reality show with 6 resident MCs. Every year when it was broadcast, the show's ratings were far ahead of the other shows in the same period. This year, because one of the male MCs was injured, they changed the host. Now it was still confidential, and there was no official announcement. Chun Lifeng was almost certain that he would get it. Chu Xiang checked the shooting time of extreme mode. From some of the updates in her circle of friends, it should start shooting in about half a month. The timing was just right. She immediately released Chun Lifeng from the blacklist and called him. Chun Lifeng was using his assistant's phone to send a text message to Chu Xiang. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. The screen of his phone was almost broken by him. When his own phone rang, he didn't even look at it. It was his assistant who reminded him, "Brother Feng, Sister Xiang is calling." Huh? What? Chun Lifeng looked up. When he heard Chu Xiang's name, he was at a loss for a moment, as if he didn't understand. When he saw the name displayed on the screen, he immediately picked up the phone and said angrily, "Chu Xiang, you're finally willing to answer the phone." Chu Xiang looked at Tan Xinxin, who was sleeping next to her. She got out of bed quietly and walked out of the room. "Hello? Chu Xiang? Hello? What's your voice?" Chun Lifeng didn't hear a response. He thought that Chu Xiang accidentally touched the phone, and his voice became louder and louder. Chu Xiang frowned and said unhappily, "I heard you. Shut up." Fang Zhenxuan saw her come out from the mirror, and gave her the blanket on the sofa. Chu Xiang wrapped the blanket around herself and smiled faintly. "Chun Lifeng, are you burning with anxiety now? How is it? Have you thought about how to do public relations? Do you need my cooperation?" Chun Lifeng was ready to be scolded, but he didn't expect Chu Xiang to smile. He couldn't figure out what Chu Xiang meant. He asked tentatively, "You're willing to cooperate with me? What tricks are you playing?" Chu Xiang crossed her legs and sat on the sofa. She smiled. "We've known each other for so many years. You should know that I'm the one who doesn't play tricks. Originally, on account of our friendship for so many years, I should help you when you're in trouble. But what?" Chun Lifeng grasped the phone tightly and became nervous subconsciously. He didn't want any more unforeseen events. Chu Xiang said slowly, "But I've always been a person who pays attention to fairness and equality. I have to treat others the same way they treat me. Otherwise, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Look, when I wanted you to cooperate, I directly handed you a good resource. Now that the situation is reversed, shouldn't you do something? Chen Lifeng's eyes widened instantly, and his face was full of disbelief. You what? You want resources from me? Chu Xiangyu, when did you become so utilitarian? When did you do such a thing? Chu Xiang said matter-of-factly. This afternoon, when I gave you the resource, weren't you doing such a thing? I'm applying what I've learned. What's wrong with that? You. Chen Lifeng took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. Okay, I'll give it to you. What resources do you want? You want to support that newbie called Feng something, right? Zhou Yuan's studio is going to shoot an online drama. I'll give him the third male lead, okay? Chu Xiang laughed out loud and leaned on the sofa's armrest. Feng Zhenxuan heard that she seemed to be talking about him, so he also sat on the sofa. He held the character biography and watched Chu Xiang while reading it. Chen Lifeng was annoyed by Chu Xiang's laughter. He gritted his teeth and said, "What are you laughing at? You want resources, so I'll give you resources. What's so funny?" Chu Xiang's voice was still smiling. "I'm laughing at you for being brainless. At this time, you don't hurry to give me a satisfactory resource to calm the storm on the internet. Instead, you're angry and want to send me away with the third male lead. Do you think I'm stupid, or are you stupid? I gave you Love's Wish. Even if it's not the best, it's at least the second tier. You're just a third male lead in an online drama that I've never heard of. Can you give it to me?" Chen Lifeng had never seen such a difficult Chu Xiang. They had worked together for 8 years. It was impossible for him to change his established impression of Chu Xiang in one day. It was inevitable that his words and actions would be a little bullying of Chu Xiang. Anyway, Chu Xiang had always given in to him. However, Chu Xiang's words reminded him that Chu Xiang would not help him now unless he had enough bargaining chips. And he was the one who was most anxious now. Chu Xiang was not anxious at all. He held back his anger and asked, "What do you want? What kind of resources can satisfy you? Don't forget that the artist you just signed is a newbie. Even if he has a good appearance, it doesn't mean that he can be popular. What resources do you want to use to support him?" Chen Lifeng's voice was a little loud. Feng Zhenxuan heard it from the side and couldn't help but look at Chu Xiang. Chu Xiang smiled at him. "Thank you for praising my brother's handsomeness. He will definitely be popular, so of course I want to use the best resources to support him. Stop talking nonsense. I want you to help me negotiate for extreme mode." Like Feng Zhenxuan, Chen Lifeng thought that he was hearing things for a moment. "What do you want? Extreme mode?" He laughed a few times. "Are you daydreaming? Is the fixed MC of extreme mode something a newbie like him can do? Why don't you go and daydream? I don't care how you do it. Anyway, you have to negotiate tonight. Aren't you following Zhou Yuan for good resources? If you can't even do this, you're too useless. There's no other choice. When you settle Zhou Yuan and give me extreme mode, I'll cooperate with your public relations. Think about it. If you don't agree, then don't bother me. Just wait for it to fail." Chu Xiang hung up after saying that. She still had other things to do. As for Chen Lifeng, she believed that he would give her a satisfactory answer. Chen Lifeng immediately called Chu Xiang again. Chu Xiang didn't answer. She put the phone on silent and threw it on the coffee table, leaning on the sofa to rest. Feng Zhenxuan handed her a cup of warm water and asked, "You called so many times just to look for resources?" Chu Xiang drank a few mouthfuls of water and felt her stomach warm. "At this time, although we're in the teeth of the storm and you're not famous, you can still meet 1 or 2 people who are willing to cooperate. What some people don't like may be what others urgently need. Just seize this opportunity." She drank a few more mouthfuls of water and glanced at the phone with a smile. "Also, I just want to understand my real circle of contacts. I want to see whether those who are usually intimate with me are people or ghosts, real friends or fake friends, good friends or ordinary friends. After this, my circle of friends will be more solid. As for those who aren't worth my attention, I'll leave them some face and communicate with them daily." Feng Zhenxuan silently gave her a thumbs up. "I don't think anyone would believe that you, a manager who was beaten into the abyss, actually got so many benefits." He glanced at Chu Xiang and asked seriously, "Are you really not sad anymore? Yesterday, I saw that you looked. Aren't you too rational today?" Chu Xiang blinked. "The me you saw yesterday wasn't the real me. The me now is the real me. I was just mourning my lost youth yesterday. Do you believe it? Do you think I believe it or not? I don't know who was crying in the corridor yesterday and drinking so much that she almost died." Fang Zhenxuan gave her a look that said, "Think about it yourself." Chu Xiang straightened up and patted him on the head. "I didn't expect you to be so naughty. You'd better forget all of that, or else I'll kill you to silence you." Click. Chu Xiang made a throat-slitting gesture and pushed him up. "Take out my computer. I'll edit the pictures. It's almost time for you to appear. You know how to edit pictures?" "What don't I know? You'll know after a while that I'm a treasure." Fang Zhenxuan chuckled and took out the computer for her. He closed the bedroom door and handed her the computer. "Here, treasure girl. Show me your skills and make me more handsome. You're still praising yourself. You're so thick-skinned. Go practice your acting skills." Chu Xiang sent the pictures to the computer. She didn't answer any calls and focused on editing the pictures that she was going to send. She had already been in the 6 groups before. She had suffered a huge loss this time. Since Chen Lifeng was in the wrong, he should compensate her. When Chen Lifeng refused to let her go, she swallowed her anger and sent resources to Chen Lifeng. At most, she would take it back. It wasn't too much. As long as Chen Lifeng was willing, she would cooperate immediately. Her attitude was very sincere. She was very willing to cooperate with the public relations, but no one could take it lying down when they encountered such a thing. She had been very tolerant of Chen Lifeng before. If things had developed to this point, she would be too humble to take the initiative to help others clarify. The few people in the group were all people who had experienced this and knew Chen Lifeng's attitude. Moreover, they also knew that Chen Lifeng had confidently called Chu Xiang to clarify things. Just based on his attitude, he deserved to fail. Chu Xiang would cooperate as long as she got the resources. If Chen Lifeng didn't want to give them, then it was Chen Lifeng's problem. He wanted all the benefits and didn't want to let go of anything. Who did he think he was? Since Chen Lifeng was unreasonable, this matter naturally couldn't be blamed on Chu Xiang. It was reasonable for her to be a little stubborn. They even suspected that Chu Xiang was really cheated on. The situation on the internet was getting worse and worse. Only Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan's diehard fans were left scolding Chu Xiang. Even Liu didn't dare to let the internet water army scold Chu Xiang anymore. Chu Xiang had already won the hearts of the people. At this time, it was easy to cause a bigger backlash. As soon as the internet water army withdrew, the voices scolding Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan immediately became prominent. Zhou Yuan had already sent a lawyer's letter, stating that she and Chen Lifeng were in a free relationship. When they were in a relationship, they were both single. If anyone spread rumors and slandered them, she would take legal measures. Many people didn't buy the lawyer's letter and ridiculed her for watching Chu Xiang being scolded. Now she knew it was hard to bear. She really didn't know pain until the knife stabbed her. This official statement was thrown out by Zhou Yuan to test the waters. After all, she had more than 20 years of public support. There might be people who believed her and supported her. Unexpectedly, there were very few people like this. The photos showed that 2 months ago, Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang were still very close. Not long after, it became like this. It was too difficult to believe that she was innocent. Zhou Yuan's mood fell to the bottom. This was supposed to be the sweet anniversary of her public relationship. This was supposed to be a wonderful night for her to spend happily. But now? The photos of Chen Lifeng and Chu Xiang clearly showed that Chen Lifeng had lied to her, and she had also gotten herself into trouble, and was labeled as a mistress. She was irritated and sad. Her whole state was very bad. At this time, Chen Lifeng came to find her in person. Regardless of her scolding and beating, he took her to the office and begged her to calm down. Zhou Yuan loved Chen Lifeng very much. Otherwise, with her reputation, she wouldn't have been willing to go public after being in a relationship for a short time. She was also very optimistic about Chen Lifeng's future development. She felt that the future would be very happy. So even if she was very angry, After Chen Lifeng admitted his mistake in a low voice and swore that he only liked her, her attitude softened. When she found out that Chu Xiang wanted the resources of extreme mode before cooperating with them to clarify, she was so angry that her face turned green. Why does she want extreme mode? She's really daring. She's asking for too much. Chen Lifeng sighed and was a little depressed. I don't want to give it to her, but I've tried many ways to contact her, but I can't. She only has this one request and won't talk about anything else. If this drags on, it will have a great impact on my career. I've already lost an endorsement that was in discussion. He wiped his face. Yuan, it's worth it for a variety show to calm things down. I still rely on my acting skills after all. Besides, this show is a temporary change of MC. The previous seasons have a fixed audience and fans. They are likely to reject the new MC. Going on this show may not necessarily benefit us. The most important thing now is to not let the label of Scumbag 3 be attached to us. Otherwise, it won't be able to tear it off for many years. Zhou Yuan asked unwillingly. Were those photos posted by Chu Xiang? She's not. I don't know. Maybe it's someone else who doesn't like us and is competing for resources. What Chen Lifeng didn't know was that the Chu Xiang he knew would not deliberately collect these photos, let alone release them to destroy him. All of this was more like the doing of a rival who hated him. However, he just wanted to stabilize Zhou Yuan now, and didn't want to mention Chu Xiang in front of her. Chen Lifeng was still good at coaxing Zhou Yuan. In the end, Zhou Yuan used her connections in the entertainment industry to set Fang Zhenxuan as the fixed MC of extreme mode. The entertainment industry was very big, and there were many resources from all sides. You have this resource, I have that resource. Sometimes, the good resources in my hands are not beneficial to me, and the good resources in your hands happen to be suitable for me. Chu Xiang and the others were like this now. She was sure that the Journey of Love's Wish that she arranged was a couple's show. Even if it was popular, it couldn't be used by Fang Zhenxuan. And Zhou Yuan could only arrange a male MC for extreme mode. She couldn't do it even if she wanted to. Their actions made it seem like they were exchanging resources. However, the process made Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan gnash their teeth in hatred. As soon as they finished discussing, Chu Xiang immediately followed the company's arrangement and posted on Weibo. Xingchen's manager Chu Xiang. I've been sleeping for a day, and I'm feeling better now. Thank you for your concern. I will definitely take care of myself. As for my relationship with Chen Lifeng, I think it is necessary to clarify. As managers, we have worked together with Yirao for 8 years, and are partners in the same industry. Just like how we used to have good dorm friends and good colleagues in the company, most of them will gradually drift apart in the end. Chen Lifeng and I don't have the same ideas, and our plans for the future are not the same. The best choice is to separate and find a better partner. I really like my new partner, Fang Zhenxuan. As for whether Chen Lifeng and I have an ambiguous relationship, to be honest, I like handsome brothers. Chen Lifeng is more mature and not suitable for me. Last night, I accidentally got alcohol poisoning. The most important thing was seeing the sun this morning, so today is my new life. Everything has to start over. I hope that Fang Zhenxuan and I won't disappoint everyone in the future. It's very late, everyone go to bed early. Thank you for all your help today. Heart to heart in this chaotic battle, Chu Xiang's Weibo was like a clear stream, with the power to calm people's hearts. She didn't use official words, nor did she try to change the topic. She used the most simple words to clarify her relationship with Chen Lifeng, and also expressed that she liked her new partner very much. Chen Lifeng's diehard fans scolded Chu Xiang for being scheming, but there were too few people, and the comments were quickly drowned out. The netizens who liked Chu Xiang analyzed her Weibo, and found that she also revealed some information. For example, she really liked her new partner. Who was her new partner? Fang Zhenxuan, and Fang Zhenxuan was actually a top student in law school. She also revealed that she liked handsome brothers. As for Chen Lifeng, that was a bit indescribable. This could be taken as a statement of facts, but it could also be interpreted as her mocking Chen Lifeng. She didn't like people like that at all. It was ridiculous that Chen Lifeng and Zhou Yuan had talked about it as if Chu Xiang was pestering Chen Lifeng. In the end, Chu Xiang didn't like Chen Lifeng's type, and didn't think that he was a handsome brother. This was a slap in the face. Then there was Chu Xiang's envoy. Those who helped Chu Xiang today were all pure passers-by. Maybe there were fans of other stars who couldn't stand it and came to help, but they were not Chu Xiang's fans. They were still passers-by. They didn't expect that Chu Xiang would remember all their help today, and was very touched. A simple envoy inexplicably brought some warmth, and it made their mood a lot better. After Chu Xiang posted on Weibo, Chen Lifeng immediately posted on Weibo. The general idea was that he hoped that everyone would stop believing in rumors, hinting that someone was maliciously slandering her, and that he would reserve the right to pursue the matter. Then he congratulated Chu Xiang and hoped that she would get better as soon as possible and walk on a more glorious path. He didn't dare to say anything else, afraid that he would be caught red-handed again. At this time, he could only tuck his tail between his legs and behave. At this time, Zhou Yuan didn't need to speak anymore. The lawyer's letter she sent before was enough. Silence was the best choice. Although some netizens suspected that Chu Xiang was convinced, and didn't have the courage to expose the truth, Chu Xiang's Weibo didn't have much of a good intention. After reading it carefully a few times, it seemed that they used to be colleagues who worked hard for the same goal. After spending a long time together, it was inevitable that there would be some happy moments, but because of different ideals, they parted ways. From the beginning to the end, they weren't necessarily friends. And Chu Xiang saying that she liked handsome brothers was more like mocking Chen Lifeng for not being good enough for her to like. This didn't seem like a public relations document. Therefore, using this point to slander Chu Xiang was not tenable. Furthermore, although some of the photos looked ambiguous, there were also some that looked cold. If one were to think back to their dormitory mates, it seemed to match up quite well. Today things were a little better. Apparently, they had parted ways after graduating. Perhaps it was because Chu Xiang's example was very immersive. When the netizens thought of their classmates and colleagues, they inexplicably agreed with her words. The idea that she and Chen Lifeng were a couple disappeared just like that. After all, Chu Xiang didn't like Chen Lifeng. Chen Lifeng finally did his public relations, but he couldn't be happy. In addition to the image and resources he lost, Chu Xiang's attitude seemed to have stabbed him hard. He clearly turned around and left, leaving Chu Xiang behind. In the end, why did it seem like Chu Xiang despised him like trash? However, no one cared about him anymore. Chu Xiang's Weibo not only clarified the matter, but also quietly shifted the focus of attention to Fang Jinshuan. At first, it wasn't obvious. Later on, more and more people went to find the handsome brother that Chu Xiang liked. The most they found were the photos she took with Fang Jinshuan in the hospital. There were also people who followed her Weibo to Fang Jinshuan's Weibo. They were amazed that Fang Jinshuan was not only a top student, but also the president of the student union. He had actually become an artist that Chu Xiang especially admired. The netizens hadn't matched Fang Jinshuan's name with his photo, but they were all paying attention to his Weibo and photos at the same time. There were also many people who guessed that the person Chu Xiang liked was the brother in the photo. At that moment, Chu Xiang opened a new Weibo and posted a 9-grid photo of Fang Jinshuan. Chu Xiang V. Today is my new life. I hope that everything will be brand new. Let's work hard together. At Fang Jinshuan in the past, her Weibo had a long string of prefixes because very few people knew who her agent was. However, after this incident, everyone knew her name. When she was at the peak of her popularity, she opened a new Weibo account and even posted a photo of Fang Jinshuan. At this point, many people remembered that there was a manager who used Chu Xiang, and her artist used Fang Jinshuan. In the entertainment industry, there were countless people who worked hard for more than 10 years, but still couldn't be remembered. Today, Fang Jinshuan was the first to sign a contract. He didn't do anything at all, and his name was already known. Some people in the industry saw this and suddenly realized that the final winner of this game was Chu Xiang. She actually pushed the first newcomer in the entertainment industry to such a high position. This was really an operation that had never been seen before. No one doubted that Chu Xiang had arranged everything in advance. However, her move to post Fang Zhenxuan's photo on Weibo was praised by many people. They all felt that she was very smart and knew how to find opportunities in a disadvantage and seize them. Even the 6 people in the group gave her a string of likes, praising her last move as wonderful. Chu Xiang asked Fang Zhenxuan to repost her Weibo and added a few simple words. "Let's do our best together." Agent Sister Chu Xiang, naughty smile. JPG. Fang Zhenxuan's 9 palaces grid was taken by Chu Xiang at home for him. The Prince Charming, who lived in the style of home, gave people a different kind of attraction. People couldn't help but fantasize that if there was such a Prince Charming in their own home, what kind of immortal life would it be? What was surprising and expected was that Fang Zhenxuan was actually the handsome brother who was smiling with Chu Xiang in the ward. No wonder he was in the ward. It turned out that he was Chu Xiang's new partner. He must have specially gone to visit Chu Xiang. As for the girl in the photo, Fang Zhenxuan picked a comment in the comment section and replied. That was his niece who lived with him. Now the previous scandal was solved. It turned out that the girl wasn't Chu Xiang's daughter, but Fang Zhenxuan's niece. It turned out that Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan weren't a couple, but a new partner. The reason why no one suspected that Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan had anything to do with each other was because Fang Zhenxuan's agent sister on Weibo was very loving and cute, but there was really no ambiguity. Also, Fang Zhenxuan's identity as a top student in the law school inexplicably made people feel that he didn't have anything to do with Chu Xiang. It was just that kind of honest feeling. Now that the scandal was over, it was time for Fang Zhenxuan to attract fans. Fang Zhenxuan's appearance was too good. While Chu Xiang's Weibo number was increasing, Fang Zhenxuan's Weibo number was also increasing. The first thing he attracted was a large wave of fans. At the same time, Fang Zhenxuan's identity as a top student in the law school added an invisible halo to him, making people feel that he was blessed. There were even people who followed him because of his Weibo to educate people about law. In the future, they could increase their knowledge by looking at him more. Half an hour after Chu Xiang opened her new Weibo, hashtag Fang Zhenxuan's handsome brother hashtag rushed to the top 10 trending searches. Chu Xiang's Fang Zhenxuan hashtag and hashtag Fang Zhenxuan's law school's top student hashtag were also hovering in the top 20 trending searches. Many law school students saw Fang Zhenxuan's Weibo and knew that he had entered the entertainment industry. They also knew that today's series of events implicated his agent, Chu Xiang. These students spontaneously recommended Fang Zhenxuan. His school's mock court videos, photos of the student union meeting, student representative speeches, debate competitions, various awards he had won, and so on. It seemed that he didn't fit in with the entertainment industry, but it imperceptibly raised Fang Zhenxuan's status too high. As for why he entered the entertainment industry, some students also knew that his sister died when he was just admitted to university, leaving a sick and weak niece for him to take care of. He studied while working. Now that he entered the entertainment industry, he definitely wanted to give his niece a better life. This kind of life experience was easy to move people, and it was easy for everyone to have good fortune for Fang Zhenxuan. The law school students understood Fang Zhenxuan's change of career very well, because his personality and charm were also blessing him. They were all Fang Zhenxuan's fans, and their recommendation also had a very good effect. Fang Zhenxuan's fans increased faster than Chu Xiang expected. Chu Xiang paid attention to the developments on the internet while guiding Fang Zhenxuan to practice the audition. When both sides were almost done, she relaxed and rubbed her shoulders tiredly. She stretched her neck and got up. Rest. The crew is in a hurry. After the audition tomorrow, they will start shooting. Fang Zhenxuan grunted. Rest well. Call me if you need anything. Okay. Chu Xiang walked to the door, and her phone suddenly rang. She picked it up and found that Chen Lifeng was calling from a different number. Chen Lifeng was so angry that he almost couldn't breathe. Are you happy now? I suffered a big setback, but your new dress benefited a lot. Chu Xiang smiled happily. I also have to thank Mr. Chen for cooperating. It saved me a lot of publicity fees. Chen Lifeng threw his phone. He had spent so much effort to scheme, but recently, he had become a stepping stone for someone else. How sullen. Chapter 212. Chu Xiang was busy the moment she was rescued. Her soul was strong, so she didn't feel tired mentally. However, her body couldn't take it anymore. She fell asleep as soon as she relaxed. The universal mirror stood guard next to her and blocked all the sounds around her, allowing her to sleep peacefully. Anyway, if anything happened, it would wake her up. It was much better than an alarm clock. Xian slept well and didn't disturb Chu Xiang at all. She let Chu Xiang have a good night's rest and didn't wake up until the next morning. Before Chu Xiang opened her eyes, she smelled a strong fragrance. She rubbed her eyes and sat up. Seeing that the seat next to her was empty, she knew that the uncle and nephew had already woken up. She picked up her phone and looked at it. Other than a few messages congratulating her on getting rid of the rumors, there was only an email informing her of the time and place of the interview. Everyone basically thought that she was still in the hospital. After all, the photo of her being pushed into the emergency room was too scary, so no one disturbed her at the moment. Her phone was relatively quiet. Chu Xiang sent a message to Lin and asked her to help apply for a car from the company. Then, she changed her clothes and walked out. Wow, it smells so good. What are you doing? Chu Xiang saw Fang Zhenxuan cutting cucumbers. The fragrance came from the pot on the stove. Xian skipped over and grabbed Chu Xiang's hand. She smiled and said, "Sister, uncle is making chicken porridge. He's going to use cucumbers to make cold dishes." Chicken porridge? No wonder it smelled so good. Chu Xiang touched Xian's head and felt hungry. This porridge has been simmering for a long time, right? Is it ready to be eaten? Look, Xian is hungry. Xian leaned on Chu Xiang's leg and kept looking into the kitchen. She was so hungry that she almost drooled. Chu Xiang was amused. Fang Zhenxuan put the cold dishes on the table. It's been simmering for 2 hours. It's ready to be eaten. I chopped up the chicken thighs to make the porridge. It's nutritious. Wash your hands and come to the table. Okay. Xian quickly ran to wash her hands. Chu Xiang also quickly washed up and sat at the table. Fang Zhenxuan had already scooped porridge for them. The fragrance assailed their nostrils, and it looked very delicious. Chu Xiang lowered her head and tasted it. She asked in astonishment, "How are you so good at cooking?" "It's delicious." Fang Zhenxuan smiled. "Eat more if you like it." At that time, Xinxin was in poor health and didn't like to eat, so I tried my best to supplement her nutrition so that she would like to eat. That's why I learned to cook a lot of things in the past few years. Chu Xiang ate the porridge and said, "Very good. So you are also a treasure boy. If there's a chance, I'll get you to appear on a show that highlights your culinary skills. You have to let people see your strengths." Fang Zhenxuan chuckled and said, "How can you think of work anytime and anywhere? You've only seen me make porridge once, and you're already thinking about going on the show?" "Of course. I'm the best manager and I'm always thinking about how to make you famous. Hurry up and eat. When the company car arrives, we'll set off for the audition." Fang Zhenxuan looked surprised. "You're going to? You don't look well. Why don't you rest at home? I'll go by myself. I've already practiced what you told me to practice last night." Chu Xiang shook her head and ate a piece of cucumber. "You're my new starting point. I have to make sure nothing goes wrong. There are too many unexpected situations in the entertainment industry. I can't slack off at all. Don't worry, I know my own body very well. I feel much better now than yesterday. There won't be any problems." Xinxin looked up at them. "Uncle, sister, are you all going to work? Do I have to go to Grandma Zhang's house again?" "I don't want to go to her house." Chu Xiang pinched her face and smiled. "If you don't want to go, then don't go. Xinxin, come to work with us, okay?" She wanted to see how her uncle acted. "There's a sister Lin coming later. She's the one you saw yesterday. She'll be by your side today. Don't run away by yourself, okay?" "Okay. I know. I'll be obedient." Xinxin's face lit up, and her voice was cheerful and full of excitement. Fang Zhenxuan didn't expect to be able to take Xinxin with him. Seeing that Chu Xiang had arranged everything, he didn't refuse and said softly, "Thank you." Xinxin had just had a fever and an injection. If he didn't see Xinxin, he would really miss her. He thought that Chu Xiang must have made such an arrangement for this reason. He had to admit that this somewhat magical agent was very thorough in her work. She had taken everything into consideration. It also gave him a very warm feeling, which was very good. Chu Xiang hurried to put on makeup before Lin came over. Her face was still a little pale, and she looked very weak. However, her makeup skills could change her appearance, so this was not a problem for her. She outlined a slightly sharp eyebrow shape for herself, and her aura was much stronger. Then she put on red lipstick, and she didn't look sick at all. Instead, she gave people a feeling of being very capable. Lin and the company's car soon arrived. Chu Xiang took her leather bag and said to Fang Zhenxuan, "Let's go start your first show to the top of the entertainment industry." Fang Zhenxuan laughed out loud. Seeing Chu Xiang full of vitality was really much better than seeing Chu Xiang crying in the corridor. However, he didn't forget that Chu Xiang's good mood was only on the surface. When he carried Xinxin downstairs, he had been paying attention to Chu Xiang's state. Lin was surprised to see Chu Xiang. She couldn't help but look her up and down. "Sister Xiang, you recovered so quickly." "I thought." Chu Xiang laughed and said, "What did you think? You thought I would hide and cry secretly, and then be more haggard today than yesterday? Forget it, it's not worth it for that kind of person. I have to make myself better every day in the future. Let's go." Lin showed a sincere smile. She and Chu Xiang came from the same orphanage, so they were naturally close. Before, she was worried that Chu Xiang was pretending, but now she was relieved to hear her words. That's right, 8 years of youth were fed to dogs. Shouldn't she make herself better in the future? It was great that Chu Xiang could get over it. After they got in the car, Chu Xiang told Lin what she had to do today. "There are many people in the crew. You take care of Xinxin, and let Zhenxuan and you pay attention to the places you need to pay attention to later. In addition, find a professional full-time nanny with high education for Xinxin, and find a high-end area with high security. After we move there, the nanny will live there and take care of Xinxin 24 hours a day." Fang Zhenxuan sat in the passenger seat and turned around when he heard this. "Chu Xiang, you will be very busy with work in the future. You can't take Xinxin with you every time, and it's not good for Xinxin to run around. The child needs a quiet environment, and she still has to go to school. A professional nanny with high education and training is the most suitable. Although it's more expensive, you don't feel at ease with an ordinary one. The money will be recorded first, and you can pay me back when you earn it in the future." Fang Zhenxuan asked, "Will it put pressure on you?" Chu Xiang only had money left in her space. She shook her head without hesitation and said, "There's no pressure at all in this aspect. You can rest assured." Fang Zhenxuan looked at Xinxin and nodded. "Okay, thank you, Manager Jiejia. I will definitely remember your great kindness and desperately climb up to give you face." The people in the car all laughed. Although Xinxin didn't know what a professional nanny with high education was, she understood that she would have a better life in the future. She couldn't help but hold Chu Xiang's hand and didn't let go. She felt that this big sister was especially good. When they arrived at the crew, they were filming. This drama was a large-scale period drama. The original IP, The Legend of Jing Fei, was very popular. It was the story of a female lead. The role that Chu Xiang fought for Fang Zhenxuan was the female lead's first crush, and also the female lead's white moonlight, Zhou Yanjun. Although Zhou Yanjun didn't live for more than 3 episodes, because the female lead often remembered him to motivate herself and warm herself. This character became an important character throughout the drama. Originally, the filming of The Legend of Jing Fei was coming to an end. Before they had been filming and producing, and had almost finished editing the drama. They wanted to release it during the summer. In the end, when there was only a month left until the broadcast, the actor playing Zhou Yanjun was suddenly exposed to taking drugs. If this kind of actor had an important role in the drama, he might not even pass the audition. When the director found out that he had thrown the script on the spot, he was furious. He had high hopes for The Legend of Jing Fei. It was shot after countless days and nights. This kind of actor who took drugs could destroy all his hard work. Now he only had 2 choices. One was to change the actor and reshoot the relevant scenes. The other was to cut out Zhou Yanjun's entire storyline. Reshooting was so urgent. Where would he find the right actor? Coordinating the various characters to reshoot was a big problem. And the cost of going back and forth and the pay for the actors, the investors would definitely be dissatisfied. But cutting out this part was like removing the makeup of a star with exquisite makeup. Even if she was still the same person, she would look plainer and less stunning. During this time, the director was so worried that he had lost a lot of hair. He invited many people to audition, but the results were not satisfactory. Yesterday, Chu Xiang contacted him through people she knew in the industry and recommended Fang Zhenxuan to him. She also showed him Fang Zhenxuan's photo. Really, Fang Zhenxuan's appearance and temperament really fit the image of the character. But at the time, Chu Xiang was embroiled in scandals. Now he was really afraid of scandals and didn't want to get involved at all. Fang Zhenxuan was still a newcomer and hadn't acted once. It was basically impossible for him to meet his requirements. It was only after Chu Xiang talked with him about many ways to promote the drama and promised that the rumors could be broken that he agreed to let Chu Xiang bring Fang Zhenxuan. In any case, Chu Xiang only wanted to give Fang Zhenxuan an opportunity to audition. Whether he could pass or not still depended on him. Just based on the few ideas that Chu Xiang had given him, he was already very happy to give her this opportunity. When Chu Xiang successfully reversed the situation and pushed Fang Zhenxuan in front of people, he was looking forward to this audition. When Fang Zhenxuan arrived, the director immediately paused the filming and let Fang Zhenxuan audition a scene in public. Auditions were usually held in a room with few people. This kind of audition in front of the whole crew was very stressful for a newcomer. However, the director also had his own considerations. They were in a hurry this time, and didn't have time to let the newcomer adapt to the crew. If Fang Zhenxuan couldn't adapt to the relaxed performance in front of everyone, then he couldn't use Fang Zhenxuan at all. Chu Xiang stood beside the director and smiled at Fang Zhenxuan. Let's start. Just like how you practiced yesterday. There won't be a problem. Fang Zhenxuan nodded and walked to the open space opposite the director. He wouldn't be nervous because of the crowd. As a law student, being nervous in front of people was the most unbearable emotion. Moreover, he had participated in so many debates and speeches that this kind of scene was no stranger to him. It was just that he had never acted before, so it was inevitable that he would be a little worried. He glanced at Chu Xiang. Chu Xiang didn't look sick at all, but he knew that Chu Xiang must be feeling unwell. He couldn't let Chu Xiang down with such a hard-won resource, and he couldn't let himself miss such a good opportunity. Fang Zhenxuan secretly took a deep breath and turned his head to enter the performance state. Chu Xiang watched his performance seriously. She was very accurate in choosing the topic. The director wanted to audition one of the two scenes that she had chosen. They had already auditioned hundreds of times the night before. Even if Fang Zhenxuan was a newcomer, she had polished his two scenes into excellent ones. She tilted her head slightly to look at the director. Sure enough, the director's expression became excited. He had solved a big problem at once, and the pay wasn't high. How could the director not be happy? After Fang Zhenxuan finished the audition, the director said, "This guy is not bad. Is he really a newcomer? Has he never been exposed to acting before?" Fang Zhenxuan returned to Chu Xiang's side and nodded with a smile. "I've never been exposed to it before. This is the first time. I feel that I quite like it." The director smiled and said, "Very good, there's spiritual energy. The newcomers nowadays are so good. Us old guys are under a lot of pressure." Chu Xiang smiled. If Director Chen is under pressure, what about others? This drama sounds very well made, and Director Chen is the lead actor. It will definitely be a hit of the year. I'm afraid that no drama of the same genre will be able to surpass it in the next few years. If our Zhenxuan can learn from Director Chen, it will be a blessing of 3 lifetimes. Director Chen waved his hand. Gao Xian's mouth was still open. "You're too good at talking. Okay, the audition is over. Let's start filming Zhou Yanjun's scenes today. Chu, you know my situation. Will the time be enough?" "Of course. Thank you, Director Chen. After work today, I'll treat everyone to a meal, so that Zhenxuan can get familiar with everyone. It will be easier for him to work in the future. What do you think, Director Chen?" Chu Xiang smiled and sent out an invitation. Director Chen looked at his watch and thought that it was indeed a good thing for the newcomer to get familiar with the crew, so he nodded. Okay, but the crew will finish work late. Can you do it since you've just been discharged from the hospital? I'm fine. Director Chen, your drama is not only the starting point of Zhenxuan's acting career, but also my new starting point. This is fate. We must have a good time tonight. Ha ha ha, good. Chu Tsongming is so straightforward. I've been happy these days. The director was in a good mood, so the crew naturally relaxed. They all knew about the previous incident, which involved the best actor and best actress, causing a huge uproar. No one would have thought that in the end, the beneficiaries would be a manager and a newcomer. Now that Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan had come to the crew, they were actually quite curious. However, most of them had good intentions because they were in a gloomy mood. Moreover, they had all seen Fang Zhenxuan's audition just now. As a newcomer, he was very amazing. His standard could be ranked in the upper middle of the entertainment industry. There was absolutely no problem for him to act in their drama. This could save them a lot of effort and also solve the crew's dilemma. Of course they were happy. The crew took Fang Zhenxuan to put on makeup and change into his costume. Chu Xiang sat next to Director Chen and chatted with him. Chen Lifeng had never worked with Director Chen before, so Chu Xiang and Director Chen had never been in contact before. As the two chatted, Director Chen found that Chu Xiang was really a very thoughtful person. Moreover, she had substance in her words and knew when to advance and retreat. This made him very fond of chatting with Chu Xiang. Making people willing to communicate was a skill. In the entertainment industry, having such a skill meant having connections. Director Chen had a very good impression of Chu Xiang the first time he met her. Moreover, he was very interested in the publicity method Chu Xiang suggested. The first wave of publicity was to continue the popularity of Chu Xiang's incident. Director Chen did not expect Chu Xiang to mention this matter. After all, even if the scandal was fake, it was uncomfortable enough to be insulted by the entire internet. Anyone with foresight would not mention this matter to Chu Xiang. Unexpectedly, not only did Chu Xiang mention it, but she also suggested that Director Chen release Fang Zhenxuan's makeup photos today and officially announced that he would play the role of Zhou Yanjun. Fang Zhenxuan was on the hot search list the night before, and this morning he was still in the top 20. If there was any special news about him, he would definitely make the headlines again. This was because the netizens had a deep impression of Fang Zhenxuan. When they thought that a newcomer had joined such a big IP drama in the blink of an eye, the discussion would definitely not lose to that of an A-list celebrity. The official announcement that focused on Fang Zhenxuan could not only promote The Legend of Jing Fei, but also let everyone know that the crew had res-hot the scene of the drug addict. Then people would no longer associate the drug addict with The Legend of Jing Fei, and The Legend of Jing Fei would be able to completely separate itself from the topic of drug abuse. In the future, reporters wouldn't even use this topic to make things difficult for the crew. It was definitely a good thing. Director Chen listened to Chu Xiang talk about the pros and cons, and he couldn't help but look at her seriously. Chu Xiang stopped and asked with a smile, "What's wrong, Director Chen?" Director Chen sighed. "Chu, you're amazing." Chu Xiang smiled. "If I wasn't amazing, I would have been gnawed to the bone. Based on yesterday's reversal, Director Chen should believe that my suggestion is feasible." Director Chen nodded and clapped his hands. "I'll tell the producers your idea and see what they think. If it succeeds, everyone will be happy. If it doesn't matter. As long as Fang Zhenxuan does well in this role, I believe he'll be able to attract a lot of fans when The Legend of Jing Fei is broadcast. Of course, I'm very confident in the person I chose. Don't worry, Director Chen. I'll follow Zhenxuan throughout the filming. If he doesn't act well, I'll personally urge him to practice. Anyway, he's a young man. He's not afraid of hard work. What's rare is that he's especially motivated. Director Chen, you don't have to go easy on him. Just be strict with him. He definitely won't let you down." "Ha ha ha, okay, then I won't stand on ceremony." Chu Xiang's few words had given Fang Zhenxuan the opportunity to be guided by Director Chen. Sometimes, a few words from a director might be more useful than a professional teacher. It was very precious. However, it seemed like just a few simple words, but in fact for Director Chen to accept it, it was because she had left a good impression on Director Chen. Everything needed to be linked, and the impact was formed silently. After Director Chen told the producer about Chu Xiang's suggestion, he had a simple meeting with the person in charge of the publicity plan. He thought that the suggestion was feasible, so he immediately took a set of photos for Fang Jinshuan. Fang Jinshuan's audition scenes were honed over and over again. Now that the filming was about to officially start, things weren't that simple. He held the script and focused on thinking about what kind of expression the character should have, and what kind of actions should be considered natural. He didn't even know that Chu Xiang had walked to his side. Chu Xiang quickly finished reading the content next to him. She patted his arm and said to him, "I'll tell you. Listen carefully." Fang Jinshuan nodded and listened to Chu Xiang analyze the mood and tone of every sentence for him. What kind of expression to use, how to add micromovements, and so on. When he was studying law, he had already developed the habit of being focused and serious. His memory and adaptability were especially good. He could quickly translate what Chu Xiang told him into something that was easy for him to understand, and then memorize it deeply. By the time Chu Xiang was done, he had more or less understood. Then, Chu Xiang pointed out the camera angles on the set, told him how to position himself, and how to cooperate with the others. There was a lot of information given at once, and Fang Jinshuan couldn't digest it immediately, so he still NG'd the first time. He NG'd the second time, mainly because he was only an armchair strategist when it came to the camera and positioning, so it was very difficult to practice. Also, he understood how to act the scene, but it wasn't easy to make his eyes, expression, and actions look the way he wanted them to. Director Chen was in a good mood, so he comforted him patiently. "It's inevitable to make mistakes during your first shoot. Don't be nervous, let's do it again." Fang Jinshuan NG'd again, but through these 3 NGs, he had already understood the position of a few cameras and familiarized himself with the positioning and movements. There was no problem at all when he took another shot. Director Chen looked at the shooting screen and said to Chu Xiang, "This guy is really good. It looks like he NG'd 3 times, but his acting is getting better and better each time. His expression is also getting better and better. His ability to understand is very strong." Chu Xiang smiled and said, "That depends on whether Director Chen is willing to give him a chance. Jinshuan is a pure newcomer, so it's inevitable that he won't do well. Director Chen, please forgive him in the future. Everything will be fine as long as the scene is done. Don't worry." Director Chen was happy and agreed. Just as Fang Jinshuan was filming, The Legend of Jing Fei released Fang Jinshuan's set photo and officially announced it. At first, only the fans who followed The Legend of Jing Fei found out. Later, Chu Xiang reposted this Weibo post, and even used Fang Jinshuan's Weibo to repost it, and it became popular. This Weibo post was the second Weibo post from Chu Xiang's new account. Last night's first post was still at new starting point. Today, Fang Jinshuan had entered The Legend of Jing Fei. The netizens' first reaction was to ask if Fang Jinshuan was really a pure newcomer. When the news came out that Fang Jinshuan had signed the contract yesterday, many people were stunned. There was such a fast operation? Yesterday's contract signing, yesterday's hot search, today's cast. Also, wasn't Chu Xiang still very weak after being rescued? She directly arranged such good resources for her new partner? Could it be that it was already planned and only the process was left? But when The Legend of Jing Fei was announced, it specifically mentioned that it was left over from today's audition, and it started shooting on the spot. This wasn't planned in advance. Soon, some people guessed Chu Xiang's identity and began to wonder if she had some background. Otherwise, how could she be able to reverse the situation when the whole internet was blackened? She could get good resources just after signing a newcomer. But when she was blackened by the whole internet, Cixin Welfare Institute came out to prove her background and kindness. Many people who went out of Cixin Welfare Institute also helped her. From this, they could more or less see Chu Xiang's growth trajectory. She didn't seem to have a background. And if she had a background, how could she only make Chen Lifeng popular in the past 8 years? She still couldn't keep Chen Lifeng. After such a round of speculation, Fang Zhenxuan rushed to the front of the hot search as Chu Xiang expected. What surprised her was that her name was also on the hot search, but it was at the bottom and not so conspicuous. Even if she didn't think it was conspicuous, it was a position that many stars dreamed of. Her presence was strengthened again. If there was an award, she would probably get the Most Influential Manager of the Year award. And Fang Zhenxuan's final makeup photo made his fans cheer again. Even the book fans felt that Fang Zhenxuan's image was very compatible with Zhou Yanjun. Previously, Zhou Yanjun's actor was exposed to taking drugs. Now that Fang Zhenxuan was a newcomer with no dark history, the book fans were very satisfied. The nitpicking of the actor didn't happen at all. It must be known that when The Legend of Jing Fei started shooting, the book fans were very against Zhou Yanjun's actor. Because Zhou Yanjun was the female lead's white moonlight. She must be the most beautiful and important existence in the female lead's heart. The book fans took the female lead's place and naturally liked this role very much. Now that Fang Zhenxuan successfully played this role, and even got the support of the book fans, he could be considered very lucky. Of course, there were also people who suspected that the previous farce was for hype. If it wasn't for the previous incident, even if Fang Zhenxuan got the role of Zhou Yanjun today, he wouldn't be treated so well. Who knew who he was? In a situation where they had no impression of him and didn't have a good impression of him, the book fans might not be able to accept him so easily. But now, everyone remembered that Chu Xiang's new partner, Fang Zhenxuan, acted in The Legend of Jing Fei. Presumably, when The Legend of Jing Fei was broadcasted, everyone still hadn't forgotten him, and would subconsciously pay attention to him. Chu Xiang successfully turned the popularity of the scandal into substantial traffic, and it was traffic that was beneficial to them. The method of hype was quickly refuted. Who would use this kind of thing to hype? If they weren't careful, it would be a mess. And with the direction of public opinion, even the Water Army retreated, and didn't dare to get involved. Who had the ability to plan in advance and control the overall situation? Also, it was true that Chu Xiang was pushed into the emergency room. If this was deliberately hyped up, only a madman would do it. With more discussions in all aspects, Fang Zhenxuan's popularity rose. Just when his popularity had cooled down, his name was pushed to the top of the trending search again. Chu Xiang's group of 6 on WeChat was about to explode. First, they asked Chu Xiang if it was true. After confirming that it was true, they exclaimed all kinds of things. They exclaimed that how did Chu Xiang do it? If she had shown this method earlier, Chen Lifeng might not have changed agents at all. Chu Xiang sneered. She thought that people like Chen Lifeng didn't deserve her methods. She only knew how to support the people she wanted to support. For 8 years, Chu Xiang's youth was spent on Chen Lifeng. The netizens might not have thought too deeply. They believed it when they saw that Chu Xiang didn't like Chen Lifeng, but the managers in the group of 6 didn't believe it. Everyone was in the same company, so they knew more than outsiders. In addition, they had more experience. They didn't believe that Chu Xiang didn't have feelings for Chen Lifeng. Now that Chu Xiang was like this, they only felt that Chen Lifeng had hurt Chu Xiang. He wanted Chu Xiang to hold on to any chance to support Fang Zhenxuan, even though she was sick. Wasn't it just that she couldn't take it? They understood. When they found out that Chu Xiang had exchanged for extreme mode from Chen Lifeng, they admired her even more. This was definitely biting off a piece of meat from Chen Lifeng. It was enough to make Chen Lifeng's heart ache for a long time. And Fang Zhenxuan had The Legend of Jing Fei and extreme mode. It was definitely a very, very high starting point. From the beginning, he could jump out of the 18th tier and become a 3rd-tier star. For their company, it was a great thing. The more famous, the better. Chu Xiang accepted their praises and blessings. She sent a big red packet in the group and invited them to dinner in the future. The official announcement of The Legend of Jing Fei was just like Chu Xiang's. It successfully separated the actor from the drug addict. The investors and crew were very satisfied. Fang Zhenxuan had such a high starting point and popularity. The company was also very satisfied. The netizens thought that they would be able to see their handsome brother on TV soon. Of course, they were also very satisfied. The one who was the most dissatisfied was probably Chen Lifeng's side. Chun Lifeng didn't think that Chu Xiang would care so much about Fang Zhenxuan. He even suspected that Chu Xiang had known Fang Zhenxuan for a long time. This made Chun Lifeng, who always thought that Chu Xiang loved him and only him, very uncomfortable. And he was unlucky. He lost a lot of good resources and angered fans, ruining his popularity. He was actually a sedan chair for Fang Zhenxuan. Even the aftermath turned into Fang Zhenxuan's popularity. How could he be satisfied? And when he first debuted, he climbed up little by little from the 18th percentile. Fang Zhenxuan just signed a contract. He didn't know anything and he already reached this height. And he was supported by Chu Xiang. He felt even more uncomfortable. Zhou Yuan and Liu, who were with him, were also unhappy. Especially Liu. He and Chu Xiang belonged to the same entertainment company. They had to compete for connections and resources. He couldn't hide the fact that he helped Chun Lifeng step on Chu Xiang. The better Chu Xiang was, the worse it would be for him. But no matter how uncomfortable they felt, Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan's popularity continued to rise. When Fang Zhenxuan was resting, he knew the latest trend. He admired Chu Xiang so much that he prostrated himself in admiration. I thought yesterday's incident was over. I didn't think that you would still be able to use it this afternoon. Fang Zhenxuan glanced around and leaned close to Chu Xiang. Hey, tell me the truth. Did you already think of doing this yesterday? Chu Xiang pushed his head away. Of course I planned it. Do you think I came up with it on the spur of the moment? All good things have to be planned and polished. There may be a surprise on the spur of the moment, but it's not stable. If you don't pay attention, it will turn into a shock. Fang Zhenxuan looked at his name on the top of the trending list again, and pursed his lips. It feels a little surreal. I almost don't recognize my own name. Chu Xiang laughed and said, Are you that surprised? You have to remember in the future that public relations is not about right or wrong. Sometimes the public doesn't care about the real right or wrong. They only believe in what they think is right or wrong. If they have a bad impression, they won't believe it even if it's ironclad. This is a post-truth era. Self-awareness is greater than the truth. We only need to use a beautiful process to get the results we want. As for whether the truth is made public or not, it doesn't matter. What's more important than this is the follow-up public relations. Don't think that the public relations are over. The influence of the aftermath is still there. Although it's not obvious, it does exist. If something goes wrong in the future, it's easy to cause a backlash, and the public relations effect will be greatly reduced. But if you do what I did and use the aftermath to do publicity, the effect would be 1 + 1 greater than 3. So, don't let your guard down at any time. Chun Lifeng failed like that yesterday. Chu Xiang knew that Fang Zhenxuan knew nothing about the entertainment industry. They were partners now. If they wanted to reach the peak together, Fang Zhenxuan had to be familiar with all the operations in the entertainment industry. Fang Zhenxuan also knew the benefits, so he listened carefully. Director Chen saw this from afar and smiled to the person beside him. Chu is explaining the play to Fang again? I didn't expect a manager to be able to help Fang explain the play. It saved me a lot of trouble. These days, managers are all capable. Amazing. I think with manager Chu's ability and looks, she will definitely be popular as a celebrity. Director Chen laughed. Everyone has their own ambitions. No matter how good a manager is, they can still be a gold medal manager. They won't be worse than celebrities. I have high hopes for them. They are all good seedlings with ambition. Director Chen is right. The filming went very smoothly. Fang Zhenxuan filmed for the entire afternoon. With Chu Xiang guiding him from the side, Rao felt that his acting was getting better and better. In addition, Director Chen would give him pointers from time to time, so she could see his improvement. After filming for so long, it was actually very tiring. The heavy costume and hair covers were also very uncomfortable. However, Fang Zhenxuan felt very happy. Memorizing lines, analyzing characters, reasoning logic, and creating performance methods were all things that had to be done step by step. It was no easier than learning law. And he liked to challenge difficult things. This was much more interesting than working mechanically. Fang Zhenxuan felt that this filming had made him fall in love with acting. When it ended, he still felt a little unsatisfied. When Chu Xiang heard him ask what time to film, she patted his back in amusement. There will be times when you're tired in the future. Don't complain that you don't want to film. Take the script back today and study it carefully. Act as you wish at home. Let's go. It's the first time we're on set today. I'll treat everyone to a meal and sing for a while. Relax and get familiar with each other. We'll get along better in the future. Fang Zhenxuan nodded. This meal should be on me. Don't worry. I'll put it on my tab first. I'll deduct it from your salary later. Chu Xiang smiled and asked him to get into the car. She asked Lin to call a few cars and treated everyone to the restaurant. Eating, drinking, and playing had always been able to close the distance between everyone in the shortest time possible. Especially when playing games, a revolutionary friendship could be formed very quickly. Chu Xiang brought Fang Zhenxuan to toast everyone at the dinner party. Every word made people feel comfortable and melted the unfamiliarity of meeting for the first time. Fang Zhenxuan's alcohol tolerance was actually very good. He didn't look drunk at all even after drinking so much. When the main character was sober, everyone had even more fun. After such a night, Chu Xiang, Fang Zhenxuan, Lin, and even Xinxin became familiar with everyone. This made the crew treat them with great kindness and good fortune. Chu Xiang felt very satisfied. This was a good start. She had just arrived in this world and already felt like she was playing in the entertainment industry. It was really quite fun. She decided to continue playing as an agent. It was a very interesting career. She had to see if the scenery was beautiful at the peak. Chapter 213. This time Chu Xiang basically sat down, so she wasn't tired. Her body had recovered a bit, so she didn't need anyone to take care of her at night. However, since it was Fang Zhenxuan's first time acting, she still brought him home and guided him to practice the next scene. Fang Zhenxuan hadn't learned his acting yet, so his performance was very unstable. In order to get the crew to agree, he had to practice in private. Xinxin was sleeping in the bedroom, so Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan were practicing in the living room. There was a scene where the female lead, Ruoyun, was chosen to enter the palace and came to say goodbye to Zhou Yanjun while suppressing her grief. Zhou Yanjun also had to show her heartache and suppress the feeling of wishing her well. Such a delicate performance was too difficult for a newcomer. Fang Zhenxuan pondered for a while, but still couldn't find the right state. The main reason was that he had never been in love before, so he didn't understand the pain of being in love, but not being able to be together. Chu Xiang saw this and stood up. Now I am Ruoyun, the person you've liked for a long time. Act with me. Chu Xiang walked out of the kitchen, just like how Ruoyun walked out of the arched door in the movie. At first, Fang Zhenxuan was still thinking about not forgetting his lines and performing well. However, when he saw Chu Xiang raise her head and her eyes full of sadness, he forgot everything. Brother Zhou, after today, I don't know when we will meet again. You. Chu Xiang bit her lip and stopped the words that almost came out of her mouth. She wanted to ask if Brother Zhou would miss her in the future, but she couldn't ask. Fang Zhenxuan was touched by the sadness in her eyes and unconsciously moved half a step forward. Thinking that she was about to become an imperial concubine, he stopped abruptly and lowered his eyes, half turning his body. The palace is not like the outside world. You can't speak without thinking and play without restraint. Hope. Everything will be well. He knew that they shouldn't meet in private. When they met, he should nod and leave, but he couldn't bear to leave. He couldn't help but remind her that he was worried about her. There was no one around, so Chu Xiang looked at his profile impudently, as if she wanted to see it for a lifetime. Fang Zhenxuan's hand that was holding the script subconsciously tightened, as if he was restraining something. Neither of them spoke, but it was as if they had already heard each other's thousands of words. Everything around them had become a foil for them. Chu Xiang's eyes sparkled with tears. She forced herself to curl up her lips and reveal a smile. Using her usual cheerful tone, she said, Brother Zhou, you have to take care of yourself. Fang Zhenxuan clenched his teeth and put his hand that was holding the script to his side. He almost broke the script when Chu Xiang couldn't see it. However, he only replied with a gentle, mem and replied, You take care too. Chu Xiang stared at his face and engraved his appearance in her heart. Then she used all her strength to turn around and leave. Feng Zhenxuan finally looked up at her, only to see a tear fall when she turned around. His eyes instantly turned red, and he greedily looked at Chu Xiang's back until she disappeared. When Chu Xiang came out of the kitchen, Feng Zhenxuan hadn't finished filming yet. The thin script had already been crushed by him. Chu Xiang understood his state. She walked up to him and smiled. Okay, have you remembered this feeling? Feng Zhenxuan came back to his senses and looked at her in a daze. He only knew that Chu Xiang was very good at coaching people. Now that he had acted with her, he realized how good Chu Xiang's acting skills were. He didn't have to memorize his lines at all. He got into the role the moment he saw Chu Xiang. It was as if he was Zhou Yanjun, and Chu Xiang was the lover he couldn't be with. Feng Zhenxuan sat on the sofa and exhaled. He rubbed his red eyes. Agent sister, are you really an agent? What can't you do? Chu Xiang leaned against the table and thought for a moment. The agent profession is probably the one I'm not good at. Feng Zhenxuan was immediately amused. Keep bragging. I've never seen someone as narcissistic as you. If your peers knew, they would probably beat you to death. Chu Xiang looked at him with a smile. Why didn't he believe her when she was telling the truth? Chu Xiang took the phone from the shelf next to her and showed it to him. Record it every time you practice at home. It would be even better if you could imitate the positions of a few cameras. That way, you would be able to find your own shortcomings when you watch the playback. After filming these few scenes, I'll find a few films for you to learn from. Feng Zhenxuan was a little uncertain about acting. During my interview, I heard that the company has a training department. Should a newcomer like me take an acting class? Chu Xiang pointed at herself. The best teacher is here. Who do you want to take the class with? Feng Zhenxuan was a little surprised and laughed. Will you teach me like this in the future? I thought you would be very busy and only look for me when you need something. No, I will be following you for a long time. Before you become famous, I don't plan to take anyone else. You're the first artist I've taken care of after my freshman year. It's like getting a piece of unpolished jade. I have to work hard to make it into a masterpiece before I think about anything else. Chu Xiang thought for a moment. A masterpiece is not accurate. You have to make it into a priceless treasure. Feng Zhenxuan was the first artist she had taken care of in her life. Of course, he had to reach the peak. This feeling of personally sending someone to the peak was quite interesting. Feng Zhenxuan shook his head and laughed with her. They had only known each other for 3 years, and Feng Zhenxuan was already used to Chu Xiang's way of boasting. He had to admit that this kind of Chu Xiang also gave him a strong sense of confidence. It was as if they would stand at the top of the entertainment industry sooner or later, and would definitely not fail. Such a positive influence was what he especially needed. There were a lot of hardships in life, and sometimes it was very difficult and tiring. It was actually not easy to maintain a positive attitude. The confidence that Chu Xiang gave him was like a panacea. He was really lucky to be able to follow this manager as soon as he debuted. The second was the scene between Feng Zhenxuan and the female lead in the drama. He had practiced many times, but who knew that he would NG 3 times at the beginning? Director Chen took off his cap and scratched his head. He was very puzzled. Feng, what's going on? Your sad and suppressed emotions didn't come up. It's very strange when paired with your actions. Feng Zhenxuan apologized sincerely. I'm sorry, director. Can I adjust it? Director Chen looked at his watch and nodded. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Everyone take a break. Thank you, director. It's been hard on everyone. Feng Zhenxuan put his hands together and bowed slightly. His face was full of apology. He quickly ran to Chu Xiang's side and said softly, Sister Chu Xiang, her acting is so much worse than yours. I keep getting out of character. What should I do? Chu Xiang did not expect him to NG for this reason. Are you very good at talking? I'm in a good mood. Stop fooling around. Help me think of a way. If this continues, it'll be a waste of everyone's time. Feng Zhenxuan frowned and pursed his lips. If only you were the one acting. I'd definitely be able to act very well. It's a pity that I can't be your female lead every time. You'll have to face this kind of thing sooner or later. You might even meet sister number in the future, and you'll still have to continue acting. Chu Xiang shrugged and said in a low voice, "How about this? Your gaze will fall between her eyebrows later. Don't look at her. Then imagine the scene where we're acting together, or think about the person who's very important to you in real life leaving you, but you can't do anything." Chu Xiang thought of his sister. She turned to look at him, and saw that his lips were pursed into a straight line. Obviously he was thinking of the same person. She patted his arm. Sometimes actors cry 1 second and laugh the next. It's not that easy to act out emotions. Sometimes when there were no emotions, one had to rely on real memories of joy, anger, sorrow and joy. Can you do it? Actually, you're just a guest star in this show. You just have to act well. Feng Zhenxuan shook his head. Since I've done it, I have to do it well. I think I've found some feeling. Don't worry, it's been a few years. I don't have any problems anymore. I'll go and film. Feng Zhenxuan smiled at Chu Xiang and ran over to talk to the director. It was a little difficult for a newcomer like him to imagine scenes like Chu Xiang, but it was relatively easy for him to put himself in the shoes of his own sad and suppressed emotions. This was because he really had such an experience. When his sister was suffering from depression, he tried everything to help her, but it was to no avail. After his sister committed suicide, he could only suppress his sadness in his heart, because he still had a niece to take care of. He understood the feeling of not being able to stay and only being able to watch the other party leave. This time, when the filming had just started, the actress playing the female lead felt that he had changed a lot. It was as if he wasn't acting at all, but had turned into Zhou Yanjun. The actress' acting skills were not bad. Now that she had met a good partner, she was immersed in her emotions. Feng Zhenxuan gripped the folding fan so hard that his knuckles turned white. He subconsciously took half a step forward, and immediately restrained himself by turning sideways. He was completely immersed in the role. When the female lead turned around, the redness in his eyes became a highlight. The director praised. "Good. Very good." Chu Xiang brought Feng Zhenxuan to the director's side to watch the replay. Feng Zhenxuan was full of emotions, and every detail was just right. Just watching this scene alone would make one's heart ache for him. This was success. It was not easy for an actor to have a memorable moment in a drama, and Feng Zhenxuan's scene made them feel very good. Chu Xiang gave Feng Zhenxuan a thumbs up. "Not bad, it's even better than when you practiced in private." Feng Zhenxuan smiled and said nothing. Director Chen smiled and said, "Chu, I saw it. This guy hasn't been in the right state. He went to your place and chatted for a while, and it was as if he was enlightened. What did you give him?" Chu Xiang spread her hands. "What can I do? How can I compare to Director Chen? I just know some stupid ways to make him think of ways to recall sad things. This is for emergencies. I'll ask him to make up for it later. If I have the chance to work with Director Chen next time, I promise to give Director Chen a super good actor." "Ha ha ha, okay, I have a chance to look for you. Young people work hard. There are many opportunities." "Thank you, Director Chen." After that, they filmed a few more scenes. There was no need for such a delicate and layered performance, so Feng Zhenxuan finished filming without any problems. When they got home, Chu Xiang poured him a glass of red wine. "Relax. Don't be too tense, and don't immerse yourself in unhappy emotions, Zhang." Feng Zhenxuan took the wine glass and took a sip. Chu Xiang sat next to him. "If someone is acting, use a substitute to act. I don't recommend you do that. Just like what I did today. What I did today is just for emergencies. If you can avoid it, don't use it. After filming this, you should focus on learning how to act. Next time, you might be able to act naturally." Feng Zhenxuan smiled. "Actually, I'm not that unhappy. I'm just a little disappointed. Because my sister is depressed because she was betrayed by a scumbag. I just can't feel happy when I think of that man. It's okay." Chu Xiang seemed to understand why he was willing to take care of her in the hospital. He heard her conversation with Chen Lifeng, heard her crying in the corridor, and then saw her being pushed into the emergency room for alcohol poisoning. At that time, he should have thought of his sister, right? Chu Xiang turned to look at him. "Who is that person?" Fang Zhenxuan suddenly smiled. My manager sister. Leave me something to do. Don't be too omnipotent. I'll think of a way to deal with that scumbag. Don't worry. You haven't recovered yet. Go and rest. I'm much better now. Since you're fine, take out the script. It's Ming's scene. This is your first show, and the popularity is for you. You mustn't be mocked during the broadcast. Manager's sister cares a lot about her reputation, you know? I know. You seem to be bullying Bai Kai's evil sister. What cabbage? You're clearly black sesame rice ball. The two of them smiled and dispersed the bad mood. With Chu Xiang helping Fang Zhenxuan practice, Fang Zhenxuan grasped the few scenes he was going to act very well. Although his acting skills weren't outstanding, he could definitely be rated as above average in the entire show. Chu Xiang even personally acted as his makeup artist. Because the moonlight had to be beautiful enough, Fang Zhenxuan had to change clothes for almost every scene. The quality of his clothes was very good, and it also gave Chu Xiang a lot of room to express herself. She carefully styled and put on makeup for him for every scene. Not only did it meet the requirements of the show, but it also highlighted his advantages. His appearance, figure, and temperament all showed that he was the male god of the show. He was the moonlight that the female lead would never forget for the rest of her life. The effect of Fang Zhenxuan's acting was so good that the director was very happy. The crew was relaxed and happy for a few days. Occasionally, when Fang Zhenxuan didn't perform the essence of the show, the director would personally guide him patiently. As the person who controlled the entire show, the director's guidance could often enlighten him. By the time Fang Zhenxuan finished filming 5 scenes, he had already learned a lot about acting, and was officially a beginner. Although he only filmed 5 scenes, in fact, he filmed from morning to night every time. There were also 2 big night scenes. He filmed a lot of things, enough to run through the entire show after editing. Director Chin was very satisfied. After he filmed the scene where he was killed by the arrow, he specially gave him a big red packet. It was his first time in the crew, and he had such a scene. He must be lucky and everything would go smoothly. Chu Xiang treated the entire crew to a big meal, and everyone left in a lively manner. She, Fang Zhenxuan, and Lin added many people on WeChat. It could be considered as forming good karma and expanding their circle of contacts. Some people in the crew even joked that after Chu Xiang left, no one would buy them afternoon tea. They had been fattened up by afternoon tea for the past 5 days. In just 5 days, Chu Xiang made the entire crew remember Fang Zhenxuan. He could be said to be a very successful agent. In the past 5 days, Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan's popularity on the internet had completely disappeared. There were so many stars in the entertainment industry that people couldn't watch all of them. How could they keep remembering a newcomer who didn't have any works yet? Even if this newcomer was very handsome, it would only leave a faint impression. Chu Xiang and the others bid farewell to the cast of The Legend of Jing Fei, and habitually returned to Chu Xiang's home. As soon as Fang Zhenxuan entered the door, he slapped his forehead and laughed. I forgot, we don't have to rehearse today. Chu Xiang jiejie, then I'll take Xian home? Chu Xiang picked up the cup on the table and drank a few mouthfuls of water. Stay for a while. Lin too, let's briefly discuss tomorrow and the future. Lin immediately walked over. Xiang jiejie, do you have a plan? I was worried. We can't just sit around after filming this movie. Do you have a new job? Chu Xiang rolled her eyes at her. Why do I feel like you're even more of a workaholic than me? It's been hard on you. I've just recovered from a serious illness, so I need to relax and rest. There's no rush. No, I'm just afraid that I'll meet that person at the company in the future, and be looked down upon by him. Why aren't you guys in a hurry? Lin saw that she and Fang Zhenxuan weren't in a hurry, and was worried sick. Chu Xiang laughed. A defeated opponent, no matter how many times you meet him, he won't be able to take advantage of you. Fang Zhenxuan shrugged and sat on the sofa with Xian in his arms. I'm already much better than I expected. What's the rush? I'll listen to the manager Jiejie's instructions. Okay, what's the plan for tomorrow and the future? Lin quickly nodded. That's right, Xiang Jiejie. You want to rest and have a plan. Isn't that contradictory? It's not contradictory. The plan during the holidays is to move. Chu Xiang brought them water from the fridge and asked, Lin, have you found a house yet? What about the nanny? Oh, so you're moving. I thought you really didn't do anything at home. But did you make a decision so quickly? Why don't you look around? I found 3 districts. The houses are all good. The prices are different and the sizes are different. Xiang, Jie Xuan, I'll send them to you. There are also the resumes of the nannies. I only found 2 nannies. Such nannies are too difficult to find. I offered a high price, but they can only be considered after the interview. Chu Xiang first looked at the resumes of the 2 nannies and nodded with satisfaction. These 2 are good. Ask them to come for an interview tomorrow. It's normal for them to consider. They have high education and professional training, just like the housekeepers of big families. Salary is no longer their first consideration. Whether they can get along with the people they serve, and whether they can develop in the future, is what they have to consider. Lin couldn't understand. Nannies can develop? Chu Xiang laughed and said, Yes, if we become rich, won't they be able to be housekeepers for the rich? How can that be the same? Make an appointment with them first. I'll look at the houses. When it came to houses, as long as the money was in place, they could definitely find a house in such a big city. They didn't need to consider the company's distance. They only needed to consider the security of the district and the layout of the houses. When she asked Lin to look for houses, Chu Xiang had already listed all her requirements. The quality of the houses she looked at now were not a problem, and the layout was also very good. Chu Xiang flipped through and saw a large flat with 2 units per floor. It was more than 200 square meters. One unit had 3 bedrooms, and the other had 4 bedrooms. Chu Xiang showed the phone to Fang Zhenxuan. How about this? Do you like it? Fang Zhenxuan didn't have any requirements in this regard. I'm fine with anything. You're the boss. You decide. Chu Xiang carefully looked at the various data of the house and decided. This one. Go over and take a look tomorrow. If there's no problem, buy it. Huh? Aren't we renting it? Fang Zhenxuan was a little surprised. This was a first-tier city, and every inch of land was worth gold. Buying 2 high-end houses at once? Chu Xiang wanted to sigh when she thought of the money in her space. It's convenient to buy it. We have to focus on our career. The less trifling things, the better. Fang Zhenxuan smiled and asked, Is being an agent so profitable? Why don't I change my career and become an agent? You're going to grow into a money tree. Enrich yourself and make money for me. Chu Xiang saw that Xian was a little sleepy. She didn't want to do anything else for the time being, so she urged them to go home and rest. These few days had been quite busy. Now that they could relax, they really needed to adjust their schedule and rest well. After Chu Xiang sent Lin away, she removed her makeup and took a hot bath. She then comfortably began to sleep for her beauty. Her body had recovered, but the original owner had worked too hard as an agent. Sometimes when she received a call in the middle of the night, she would get up and go to the drinking party to pick up Chen Lifeng. Other times, she would stay up too late to count. A girl who had never been in love forced herself to become an old woman. From her skin to her body, she looked a few years older than her actual age. Chu Xiang now wanted to make herself beautiful. Of course, she had other plans, but she had to take one step at a time. She had to improve her quality of life first, so that she wouldn't have to worry about her work. She was a hedonist. The matter of the house and the nanny was quickly settled. Chu Xiang also bought a new car. She asked the director of the Cixin Welfare Institute to recommend her a reliable driver. The driver was tight-lipped, used to be a soldier, and had a good personality. Fang Zhenxuan was a little curious why Chu Xiang had such high requirements for the nanny. Chu Xiang remembered the topic that dominated the hot search in many worlds and laughed. When Xian takes care of a little more, you'll know how hurtful it is to tutor a child. It's better to leave it to a professional. It's not suitable for too many people to take care of Xian. It's better to find a good person who can help with homework, take care of the child and cook well. You can rest assured when you're not at home. Fang Zhenxuan was completely convinced by Chu Xiang's thoughtfulness. He calculated the money he owed Chu Xiang. It was estimated that he would have to work for Chu Xiang for a long time in the future. However, looking at their current quality of life, he was very happy to bear the debt. Chu Xiang's money was exchanged by selling an imperial jade pendant. She casually found an excuse to become a rich woman. She bought the best furniture and appliances, and asked a designer to help decorate them. The two of them tidied up the new house and moved in. The new house was very comfortable. Xian was happy when she saw it, and Fang Zhenxuan was also in a good mood. The nanny they hired was 40 years old. They called her Sister One. The chauffeur was Brother Cheng. They were now considered a team of 5 people. Chu Xiang decorated her 3-bedroom house into a bedroom, a study and a gym. She exercised and drank Chinese medicine to nourish her body. It was not obvious to others, but she felt a lot more comfortable. She took advantage of this time to contact Fang Zhenxuan with a chewing gum advertisement. This brand was ranked second among all chewing gum brands. It was very famous. It was impossible for a newcomer like Fang Zhenxuan to shoot an advertisement. It couldn't drive the sales. However, they agreed in the end because Chu Xiang gave them a marketing plan that they couldn't bear to give up. Even the script of the advertisement was written by Chu Xiang. For the past few days, other than moving, Chu Xiang had been busy with this matter, and did not reveal anything. When she asked Lin to report to the company, Lin was so excited that she could not help but scream, "Sister Xiang, you're too awesome. Why do I feel like you've been blessed after that incident? You're so good at everything." Chu Xiang laughed and said, "What blessing? Go report it quickly and find a male assistant for Zhenxuan in the company. It's more convenient to have a boy by his side, and the fans are more willing to accept it. Then help me apply for a photographer to shoot the advertisement. We'll take a few behind-the-scenes shots ourselves. Weibo hasn't been updated for a long time." Lin agreed immediately. "Sister Xiang, don't worry. You're so good. I can't let you down. Wait for my good news." As an assistant, Lin was very familiar with the other assistants in the company. She had her own circle. On the way to the company, she thought about whose personality was more suitable to follow Fang Zhenxuan. She directly called the other party and asked if they were willing. Of course, assistants also wanted to follow a big star. A newcomer's future was unknown, and a good assistant might not be willing. However, Fang Yuan and Lin had some friendship. After listening to Lin, she agreed. In this way, Lin was actually more like Chu Xiang's assistant. However, their relationship was maintained by Chu Xiang like an inseparable team. Lin also often ran errands for Fang Zhenxuan. When the company found out that Chu Xiang had won the endorsement of Dezhen chewing gum to Fang Zhenxuan, they couldn't hide their surprise. When Chu Xiang took care of Chen Lifeng, they didn't realize that she was so good. She could even win the endorsement of Dezhen, which was ranked second in the industry. How strong were her connections? It was a pity that the endorsement could only be signed for a year, and the remuneration was not high. The company contacted Chu Xiang and asked if she could give this opportunity to other artists in the company. The company would compensate her with other resources. Chu Xiang directly refused. Others didn't know how Chu Xiang negotiated with Dezhen, but Chu Xiang herself knew. If Dezhen's sales could exceed the first place, Jianyun, Dezhen would renew the contract with Fang Zhenxuan for 2 years. Every box of chewing gum would have a half-body picture of Fang Zhenxuan printed on it. Her marketing plan had never failed. The advertisement script she wrote would definitely leave a deep impression on the audience. It was inevitable that Dezhen would sell the first place. Of course, she couldn't exchange this resource for anything else. The company also knew that it was not easy for her to get such a resource for Fang Zhenxuan. Seeing that she refused, they didn't force her. If she continued with this momentum, she might be able to make Fang Zhenxuan popular, which would be a good thing for the company. The advertisement script she wrote was for Fang Zhenxuan to play the role of the school hunk. He would wear a white shirt and jeans and carry a backpack on one shoulder. In the lively campus, he would accidentally bump into a disappointed girl, who dropped a box of Dezhen's chewing gum. Then, Fang Zhenxuan bent down to pick up the chewing gum and gave it to the girl. He smiled and told her, "No matter what unhappy things you encounter, remember to take good care of yourself." Then, Fang Zhenxuan waved at the girl and ran to the basketball court to play basketball with his classmates. The girl held the chewing gum and looked at his back. She seemed to be encouraged by his confident smile and slowly smiled. During the shooting, they would take a close-up of Fang Zhenxuan's smile. It must be infectious and make people feel that confidence and joy. He was originally the school hunk and a top student. This kind of scene was very suitable for him. It would make people feel more immersed and easier to remember him. Who wouldn't want to meet such a handsome and sunny boy when they were disappointed? This time, the advertisement and marketing strategy mainly covered the student group, especially the girls. When De Zhen's official Weibo announced that Fang Zhenxuan was the new spokesperson, the netizens were very surprised. It seemed that Fang Zhenxuan had only debuted for half a month. He could already be De Zhen's spokesperson? However, the number of netizens who paid attention to De Zhen was not enough. This matter did not spread much, but it attracted a wave of fans who felt that the endorsement picture was very handsome. Not long after, De Zhen's online and offline advertising spots were all replaced with Fang Zhenxuan's publicity picture. De Zhen's new advertisement was also officially released on various major platforms. The netizens were instantly stunned. Did they know what was handsome when they saw those photos? The living and moving Fang Zhenxuan in De Zhen's advertisement was really handsome. The advertisement was first released. Fang Zhenxuan was on the front row of the trending list for the third time, after debuting for more than half a month. Ah, Fang Zhenxuan is so handsome. I want to climb the wall. I'm a fan. He's my husband. This is too much of an idol drama. I really can. Xian, look at me. I can be that happy girl. Upstairs, are you stupid? What's there to be happy about being that girl? If you want to be, you should be that box of De Zhen. Xian put it in his pocket and even took it personally. Ha ha ha. Are you crazy? You can't fall in love with another species. Jimei, wake up. I announced that Fang Zhenxuan will be my life from now on. I want to watch him act in a sweet idol drama. Sponsor Daddy, look at me. Look for him to act in an idol drama. Even the advertisement is like an idol drama. If an idol drama was really sweet, there would be a market for it at any time. Although it was difficult for idol dramas to be sweet from the beginning to the end, De Zhen's advertisement could. The hormones of the school hunk in the advertisement were so overwhelming that the girls were all flustered and could not bear to look away. Especially Fang Zhenxuan's smile. How could someone smile so beautifully? He was so sunny and handsome. De Zhen calculated the sales report of the advertisement and found that the sales had obviously increased in the first day. The reason was that the advertisement had hit the girl's psychological spot. The passing of the box of gum was not only a gift from the school hunk, but also a kind of comfort and encouragement. The advertisement did not mention what the girl had encountered. This made it easier for people to imagine their own unhappy moments. For example, falling out of love, failing a course, being rejected in an interview, or losing something. From sadness to slight disappointment, they could all be put into this advertisement. Zheng Qian thought about it. If she was unhappy and a sunny boy handed her a box of chewing gum with such a beautiful smile, even if it was only a box of chewing gum that cost less than 10 yuan, it could become a ray of light that shone into the shadows. The response to De Zhen's advertisement was especially good. When Chu Xiang brought Fang Zhenxuan to the company, their colleagues were all congratulating them. Thanks to these 3 trending searches, all the employees in Xingchen had a deep impression of Fang Zhenxuan. With such an artist who did not cause trouble and had a good reputation in the company, they were all willing to show their goodwill. Chu Xiang greeted them happily and introduced them to Fang Zhenxuan. Then, she let everyone order whatever they wanted for afternoon tea. When Chu Xiang brought Fang Zhenxuan into Mr. Liang's office, Mr. Liang was still smiling and teasing her. You're very good at buying people's hearts now. Why? Are you afraid that they won't help you next time? Chu Xiang walked over with a smile. Mr. Liang, you really know how to joke. What kind of trouble can we encounter? We're very sensible. We only create profits for the company and won't cause trouble for the company. She raised her hand and introduced the 2 of them. Mr. Liang, let me formally introduce you. This is Fang Zhenxuan. Zhenxuan, this is our Xingchen's anchor, General Manager Liang. Fang Zhenxuan shook hands with Mr. Liang and politely said, "Mr. Liang." Mr. Liang smiled and said, "Anchor is too exaggerated. We're all working here. Sit down. Why did you come to the company today? I see that you've been very busy recently. You don't have any free time at all." Chu Xiang sat down. "I'm here today to discuss something with Mr. Liang. I heard that our company is going to film a legal workplace drama. The roles haven't been decided yet, right?" Mr. Liang did not know any artists below the second tier in the company, but because of the storm, he remembered Fang Zhenxuan and remembered that Fang Zhenxuan was a top student in law school. Before Chu Xiang finished, he understood. "You want Zhenxuan to act? Which role?" "Of course it's the male lead." Chu Xiang looked at Mr. Liang and smiled. She knew that he felt that the newcomer was too anxious. Chu Xiang continued, "Mr. Liang, if I'm not sure, I won't say this. Otherwise, if I mess up my own drama, I won't have the face to return to the company in the future, right?" "Oh, you're very sure?" Chu Xiang, movies and TV dramas are about ratings. I know that Zhenxuan has a high starting point and his current development is good, but you can't give him the role of a legal drama just because he has studied law. His fan base is too small, and his acting skills have not been polished. How can he carry the ratings? It's good that you're active, but you can't spoil it by rushing it. Mr. Liang was still very optimistic about them and advised them earnestly. Chu Xiang looked at Fang Zhenxuan and took out her phone to pull up the video of Fang Zhenxuan's performance. "Mr. Liang, take a look at Zhenxuan's acting skills first. I don't think there's a problem in this aspect. His advantage is not only that he has the soul of a lawyer, but also the marketing plan I'll develop in the next few months. It seems that he doesn't have a fan base now, but when the legal drama is broadcast, his popularity will definitely increase by 100 times. Mr. Liang raised his head and looked at her. Those who dared to boast like this were either idiots or too confident. He couldn't see Chu Xiang's idiocy at all. But increasing his popularity by 100 times in a few months? This was a bit too exaggerated. Fang Zhenxuan had been silent since he came in. After all, he was a newcomer and a big boss, so it wasn't appropriate for him to interrupt. But at this time he also said, "Mr. Liang, I'm confident that I can play this drama well and fully cooperate with Sister Xiang to improve my strength in all aspects. Please give me a chance, Mr. Liang." Mr. Liang had already finished watching Fang Zhenxuan's performance. Chu Xiang recorded the scene where he used his emotions in The Legend of Jing Fei. That was Fang Zhenxuan's best performance so far. Whether it was his emotions, demeanor, lines, or actions, they were all impeccable. Mr. Liang was somewhat surprised. Fang Zhenxuan's acting skills had passed. He saw that the confidence and modesty shown by Fang Zhenxuan were not fake. Then the only thing that could convince him was the marketing plan. This was what Chu Xiang was best at. She sent the printed marketing plan to Mr. Liang. 10 minutes later, she waited with satisfaction for Mr. Liang's decision to appoint Fang Zhenxuan as the male lead. Chapter 214. With Mr. Liang's approval, the male lead of Xingchen's self-produced drama was set. Fang Zhenxuan wasn't surprised at all. He was surprised when he realized that he wasn't. How long had it been? He had already accepted Chu Xiang's omnipotent setting. It was as if it wasn't surprising no matter how big of a thing she did. Chu Xiang still had things to do, so she quickly left the company with Fang Zhenxuan. When the relevant departments of the company received the news that Fang Zhenxuan was the male lead of the legal drama, they read the news several times with faces full of disbelief. They discussed in private. Is Chu Xiang cheating? How did she suddenly become so powerful? Maybe she was this powerful before. It's just that Chen Lifeng was famous and didn't highlight her level. It's possible. Chu Xiang must have put in a lot of effort to make Fang Zhenxuan popular. Fang Zhenxuan has profited. That depends on whether they have potential. I think the two of them are going to have another money tree in our company. Those who knew the news looked at Chu Xiang in a new light, and were very optimistic about Fang Zhenxuan's future. Although this matter hadn't been officially announced and couldn't be spread, only a few of them knew about it. However, if they mentioned Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan to others, their words would bring out some good feelings. This could be considered an invisible spread of influence. Chu Xiang left after the discussion for no other reason than to talk to the Extreme Mode team as soon as possible. Extreme Mode was a top variety show. Feng Zhenxuan was an unknown and transparent person in Extreme Mode. He might not be beneficial to the show. If it weren't for Zhou Yuan's great efforts, this resource wouldn't have fallen into Feng Zhenxuan's hands. Many people in the industry were fighting for it. It was also because of this that Chu Xiang wanted to talk to the show early. Feng Zhenxuan might not be beneficial to the show. Similarly, this top show might not be beneficial to Feng Zhenxuan. What was certain was that Feng Zhenxuan would definitely be able to greatly increase his popularity and national popularity after filming this season. However, because of a last-minute change, the program's fans would definitely not be able to accept it. If they rejected Feng Zhenxuan's influence and created some topics, even if Feng Zhenxuan was popular, he would still have a lot of haters, and his reputation might become worse. In particular, many people in the industry were fighting for this resource. They were not happy that it was snatched away by an evenly matched opponent. Of course, it would be even more unpleasant if it was snatched away by an invisible person. Chu Xiang felt that instead of guarding against the dirty water that would be poured out at any time, it was better to defeat all of them with brute force and put herself in an invincible position, so that even if they played tricks, they would not be able to affect Feng Zhenxuan's good reputation. Chu Xiang bought a new car, and the driver, Brother Cheng, had officially started working. The car was a 7-seater nanny van. It looked very low-key from the outside, but the inside was very luxurious. The space was spacious, the seats were comfortable, and there was a TV and a refrigerator. They had fully considered their needs to rest and pass the time during the journey. Moreover, 7 seats were just right. The two of them, Lin Fengyuan and Brother Cheng, made 5 people. In the future, they would bring a makeup artist and a cameraman, and other things that were not often used could be arranged temporarily. The original owner also had a car. Chu Xiang gave the car to the nanny sister one to drive. It was convenient for her to pick up Xin from kindergarten every time. Chu Xiang and the person in charge of the Extreme Mode program team had an appointment to meet in a tea house. The other party's attitude was very cold. After all, if it weren't for Chu Xiang's interference, the new MC of Extreme Mode would at least be at the level of a movie king. He had his own fan flow and could complement the program. Chu Xiang didn't care about his cold face. After a simple greeting, she went straight to the topic. Mr. Feng, today's invitation is a bit presumptuous, but Extreme Mode is about to start shooting. Zhenxuan, as a newcomer, will join in the middle, which may cause some bad public opinion, which is not good for Zhenxuan and the program. It will be bad if it affects the ratings. Mr. Feng took a sip of tea, lowered his eyes and faintly said, "That's also something that can't be helped. Sister Chu should have been clear when she fought for this resource for Mr. Feng. Our program team will not agree to any unreasonable requests. There are a total of 6 MCs in the program, and the number of shots will be as balanced as possible. But if Mr. Feng's performance is not good, the number of shots will definitely be reduced. It can't affect the effect of the program." Chu Xiang smiled and said, "Of course we won't make such a request." "Then I don't understand why Sister Chu wants to meet me. What do you want to talk about?" "The program flow and the specific matters of the shooting have been set, and the shooting will start soon. There is nothing that can be changed." Mr. Feng raised his head and looked at Chu Xiang. He turned a blind eye to Feng Zhenxuan and leaned on the back of the chair with his arms crossed. This was an action with repulsion and words that wanted to end. Feng Zhenxuan looked at Chu Xiang, and the first thing that came to his mind was, it turned out that the agent had to face so many cold words. For the artist, could it be considered a protective umbrella to some extent? He himself didn't care about being treated coldly. After all, he had been working everywhere for the past few years, and he had to see people's faces. But now that Chu Xiang was treated like this because of him, his desire to become famous was even stronger. Would Chu Xiang be welcomed with a smile when he was half popular in the entertainment circle? Chu Xiang's fingers on the table pushed the teacup a little to the side. Feng Zhenxuan saw it and naturally picked up the teapot to refill Mr. Feng's tea. and then refilled Chu Xiang's tea. Chu Xiang smiled, neither too fast nor too slow. Mr. Feng, Zhenxuan is a newcomer, which means he is like a blank sheet of paper in the entertainment circle. Whatever color the resources he first came into contact with, he will be that color, and he may carry this mark for a long time. Then the legend of Jing Fei, that he has filmed, hasn't been broadcasted yet, and the first thing that will be shown to everyone is our extreme mode. If he will be bound to extreme mode for a long time in the future, wouldn't it be better for our program if he is good? As for his weakness as a newcomer, I have some ideas that can make up for his lack of popularity. I wonder if Mr. Feng is interested in listening? Feng Zhenxuan was a new artist to the program, so the program team would naturally pay attention to his information and movements. Mr. Feng also knew a little about the popularity that Chu Xiang had stirred up for Feng Zhenxuan. Being able to appear in the trending headlines 3 times without any works was not something an ordinary person could do. Mr. Feng heard that Chu Xiang had an idea to make up for Feng Zhenxuan's weakness, and he was a little interested. Chu Xiang took out her tablet to show him the plan. This is my idea. If the program team has other ideas, we can discuss it again, and I am very willing to cooperate. After all, our ultimate goal is to have a good show, so that we can all reap the greatest benefits. Today, Zhenxuan is still on the hot search because of Da Zhen's commercial. I will let him gain another wave of popularity after the popularity has decreased, causing controversy and attracting passers-by fans. Mr. Feng frowned slightly. What method do you plan to use? How can you guarantee that the popularity will be enough to attract fans? Chu Xiang smiled. This will depend on my ability. I believe that my performance in the near future can still be satisfactory. Mr. Feng should have some confidence in me. I hope that when the passers-by fans I have attracted are at their most passionate, the news of Guanxian Zhenxuan joining extreme mode will spread. At that time, it will definitely cause dissatisfaction among the fans of the program. The fans of the person who was replaced will also get involved, and other people who are not pleasing to the eye will naturally have to step down. Only at this time can they vent their dissatisfaction so that there will be enough people to escort Zhenxuan. Mr. Feng, I believe that you don't want the show to cause a boycott of Xinrao before it even starts broadcasting. This will ruin the popularity of the passers-by, and will definitely affect the ratings. I can dilute this impact to the greatest extent by doing this. What do you think? Mr. Feng looked at the plan on the tablet seriously and nodded. If you can do it to your level, it will indeed be better. Of course, diluting this impact was very beneficial to Feng Zhenxuan, but it was not of much use to the program team. He was not enthusiastic. Chu Xiang continued. If there is no training, the filming of our program will be good. I'm not bragging, but Zhenxuan joining this season will definitely bring freshness and higher popularity to the program. If Mr. Feng is willing to give us a chance, I hope to play some energetic games in the first episode as much as possible. Zhenxuan's recent image of a sunny big boy has left a deep impression on people. The first episode will show his advantages in this aspect. At least it will not make the fans dislike him. And a cheerful start can often mobilize everyone's enthusiasm to continue chasing. When it comes to the second episode, Mr. Feng, there are 1 or 2 episodes in every season that have a brain-burning theme. I hope that one episode can be brought to the front. Zhenxuan's IQ and reaction ability are absolutely nothing. If the second episode is brain-burning and undercover, it will definitely be very good to let him fight the other 5 MCs by himself. Moreover, Zhenxuan can find his position in the program in the second episode, and give everyone a clear and 3-dimensional impression. They will completely accept him and look forward to this whole season of the program. Mr. Feng, Extreme Mode has always been an excellent production, and there is no problem with the quality. After a good start, I believe that the ratings will definitely rise. Mr. Feng smiled and put down the tablet. Sister Chu, you used a lot of definitely. How can you guarantee that these definitely will be realized? Chu Xiang crossed her fingers on the table and shrugged lightly. I can't guarantee anything to you, but there is no loss for the program team to cooperate with my plan, right? Even if Zhenxuan screws up and is not liked by the audience, everyone will scold him, and the impact on the program team will not be too great. However, if Zhenxuan's people explode with anger, Chu Xiang smiled slightly. Mr. Feng, the program team may have a big harvest if they contribute a little. I can't think of any reason for you to refuse me. Mr. Feng laughed out loud, picked up the teacup and motioned to her. You are indeed the most famous agent recently. Whether this plan is feasible or not, we have many opportunities to cooperate. Today, I will use tea instead of wine to wish us a happy cooperation. He looked at Feng Zhenxuan for the first time since they met and smiled. Zhenxuan, perform well. Young people have endless opportunities. Feng Zhenxuan smiled and picked up the teacup with both hands. Thank you, Mr. Feng. The three drank tea and reached a preliminary consensus. Mr. Feng said that he still had to go back and discuss this plan with the program team, and he would give Chu Xiang a reply later. The popularity disappeared in the blink of an eye, and they had to seize the opportunity. They made an appointment to eat again next time and directly left. Chu Xiang asked Feng Zhenxuan, Aren't you going to ask me what I want to do? Aren't you afraid that I will sell you out? Feng Zhenxuan laughed while watching the movie. How good is it to have an obedient cabbage like me? Why do you always remind me to be more vigilant? I'm afraid that you will get used to it and be bullied in the entertainment industry in the future. There will always be times when I am not by your side. If you don't be more careful, be careful that you will be bitten to the bone. Feng Zhenxuan shrugged. I'm not afraid. With Sister Chu Xiang here, will you let me be bitten? Chu Xiang rolled her eyes at Feng Yu. You really know how to do things. Feng Zhenxuan looked at Feng Yu and smiled. Of course. I am the most powerful person in the industry. If I follow the most powerful person, I don't have to be afraid of anyone else. Feng Zhenxuan had been carrying the family on his shoulders since he was young. But now, Chu Xiang had given him a 100% sense of security. He suddenly felt good to be able to relax. But he also does not want to disappoint Chu Xiang. Whenever he is free, he will take out his tablet to watch movies and learn from the actors. He is very hardworking. Chu Xiang and Mr. Feng's discussion soon got a reply. The program team agreed to cooperate with her. Cooperating in the entertainment industry is for a win-win situation. Now that there is a win-win situation, of course they will give it a try. Chu Xiang looked at the trending topics. The netizens were discussing how cool Feng Zhenxuan was in Dezhen's commercial. She waited until the next morning, when the trending topics disappeared. She used her Weibo account to post a video she edited personally. It was Dezhen's commercial filming highlights. Feng Yu had discussed this with Dezhen's side. Anyway, Feng Zhenxuan was Dezhen's spokesperson now, and it would not be too much for them to promote each other. Chu Xiang had specially hired the company's cameraman to film the commercial, and she left the video to her own people to edit it. Feng Yu had won international awards for editing, and of course she had to edit it personally. The highlights were shot from a different angle than Dezhen's, and it was very fresh for the audience. Chu Xiang had even edited some of Feng Zhenxuan's cute actions into the video. These were all done by Feng Zhenxuan subconsciously, and it was more eye-catching than deliberately posing. As soon as Chu Xiang's behind-the-scenes video was released, the netizens who followed her immediately went, "Oh," and praised Feng Zhenxuan in various ways. They even praised Chu Xiang as a manager who was so awesome that she actually gave them benefits. Most of the netizens who followed Chu Xiang and Feng Zhenxuan were following the incident of the internet being blacklisted. So some netizens were following both sides. When they saw the video from Chu Xiang's side and crazily forwarded it, Feng Zhenxuan's fans also immediately discovered the video. What kind of godly editing is this? I love it. I know Xian is handsome, but please don't hit me like this. No, I want a critical hit. I want a critical hit. Lord Chu Xiang, I beg for more of these highlights. Has Zhenxuan finished filming The Legend of Jing Fei? Lord Chu Xiang begs for concubine Jing's highlights. I can take pictures as long as there are pictures. Lord Chu Xiang, do you see me? It's too much of an idol drama. It's too much of an idol drama. My mind is now full of fantasies of meeting a male god like Zhenxuan on campus. What should I do? Lord Chu Xiang, quickly arrange an idol drama for Zhenxuan. I also want an idol drama. Xian is really the incarnation of the male lead in an idol drama. Chu Xiang knew that they would be like this. She smiled and replied to a comment asking for an idol drama. Don't worry. Shoot when there is a suitable script. Don't ruin the male lead in everyone's hearts. _. Of course, it was impossible to rush to the hot search with just an advertisement. No matter how well edited it was, it would still overlap with the content of the previous advertisement. There was not much that could attract the public. But Chu Xiang's comment was different. Where did a newcomer with no works get the confidence to pick a script and play the male lead? After being on the hot search a few times, he should be floating, right? In any group, the bird that sticks out will be shot. The cake was so big, but there were countless people fighting for it. Suddenly, a newcomer with nothing appeared and suppressed many people, rushing to the hot search again and again. Where did they put them? Immediately, there were people with red eyes who began to take the rhythm. Many marketing accounts took screenshots of Chu Xiang's comment, looked at the pictures, misinterpreted the original meaning, and overinterpreted. Soon, Chu Xiang became an egomaniac, and Fang Zhenxuan became a sensationalist who knew nothing and was eager to rise to the top. Recently, the public's impression of Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan was favorable. Suddenly, they saw their material, and it was malicious, so they would subconsciously click on it to take a look. That was how the popularity came. As more people saw it, more people naturally figured out the ins and outs. The netizens who paid attention to Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan's fans would also control the comments and explain. Although their control of the comments was not on a large scale and seemed very scattered, it looked more like they were spontaneously defending Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan, and it was easier to be accepted. Chu Xiang predicted that there would not be any big shots among the people who slandered Fang Zhenxuan. They were all fooling around, so naturally, it would not have a real impact on Fang Zhenxuan. Most people thought that Chu Xiang's comment was obviously a beautiful vision. Who didn't want to play the male lead when they entered the entertainment industry? Which agent didn't want their artists to be popular? Why could everyone have some unrealistic dreams when they made wishes and prayed for blessings? But Chu Xiang was being slandered just because she casually replied to a comment. Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan were people they had fought to protect. At this moment, they were not willing to let Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan be slandered. The topic of hashtag Chu Xiang replies to Fang Zhenxuan's fans hashtag quickly became a hot search amidst the dispute among netizens. More people saw it on the trending searches, and more people joined in the discussion. A few people thought that Chu Xiang's words were too arrogant. It was better to be humble when leading a newcomer. Otherwise, it would be easy to be slandered like this time. However, most people liked Chu Xiang's straightforward attitude. They felt that when she explained her relationship with Chen Lifeng last time, she was also very straightforward. This clearly showed that Chu Xiang was very sincere and did not want to listen to those hypocritical official words. Indeed, no agent would reply to Rao's fans, let alone such a reply that was beyond the artist's current level. Putting aside prejudice, didn't this look like chatting with her own family? Chu Xiang treated Fang Zhenxuan's fans as her own family. Chu Xiang's words were interpreted in many ways by various parties, and each party held their own views. Those who wanted to step on Fang Zhenxuan saw that Fang Zhenxuan was on the hot search again, and regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. How could they have thought that those netizens would still be willing to help Chu Xiang and Fang Zhenxuan after so much? Was that incident so impressive? If Chu Xiang didn't want to have tap water, she wouldn't have taken such a big detour to solve the crisis. Look at this batch of tap water now. Isn't it spontaneously defending them? She gave Mr. Feng a call. Of course, Mr. Feng was also paying attention to the situation on the internet. He realized that the popularity of Chu Xiang's post had increased just as Chu Xiang had predicted. Furthermore, she had really attracted a group of passers-by fans. He could not help but admire Chu Xiang's plan and precise control. At the same time, he was looking forward to their collaboration. At the moment when the netizens' enthusiasm to defend Fang Zhenxuan was at its peak, the official Weibo of Extreme Mode announced the news of Fang Zhenxuan joining Extreme Mode. The other 5 regular MCs of Extreme Mode immediately reposted it to welcome him. The MC who was injured and quit also reposted it, asking everyone to look forward to Fang Zhenxuan's performance. Chu Xiang asked Fang Zhenxuan to repost it and post a selfie at home. Handsome, fresh, homely, and leisurely. The most important thing was that he was barefaced, but he was still so handsome in the photo. The face fans were the first to post a bunch of awe comments, and even the organization of the face fans had unknowingly expanded. How many barefaced Prince Charming have such good skin and such good facial features? Then they must pay attention and ask for more selfies. The popularity of Chu Xiang before was all transferred to Fang Zhenxuan. The dispute over whether the comment was bragging or not also successfully became hashtag Fang Zhenxuan barefaced hashtag and hashtag Fang Zhenxuan joins extreme mode hashtag. The fact that Extreme Mode would choose a newcomer attracted more attention because Extreme Mode was a top variety show. Every year when it was broadcast, there were a lot of people who watched it. Some people didn't like one of the celebrities, but liked the feeling of them playing games together, breaking through levels, cooperating tacitly, and so on. Now there was a sudden change, and it was a newcomer who didn't know what to do. How could this be? These fans of the show took the lead to rush to the official Weibo of the show to ask what was going on. After knowing that the previous MC was injured, they asked if Fang Zhenxuan was a temporary replacement, and why they didn't find another popular student. When Fang Zhenxuan relied on a barefaced selfie to attract fans, the internet had become turbulent. Some voices began to gradually emerge, questioning how a newcomer like Fang Zhenxuan could get such a good resource like Extreme Mode. Someone also mentioned the suspicion of Chu Xiang's background last time. If it wasn't Chu Xiang who had a background, then could it be that Fang Zhenxuan had a background? If Fang Zhenxuan didn't have a background, then could it be that he had a sugar daddy? Wasn't he so good-looking? Fang Zhenxuan himself had die-hard fans. His die-hard fans were his seniors and juniors in university, as well as many students who studied law in other schools. He was their idol in school. Although he had changed his career and not studied law, they still couldn't allow anyone to slander Fang Zhenxuan. Therefore, the law students were the first to refute the rumors, saying that Fang Zhenxuan had no background and had been working to earn money during university. He was very simple. Fang Zhenxuan was also very hardworking. He definitely relied on his strength to get such a good resource and wouldn't let everyone down. The sugar daddy had no basis. Making such a rumor to insult Fang Zhenxuan's character would have to bear legal responsibility. These students were all law students. Each of their sentences was rigorous and clear. They were pure streams in all the comments, making people know that they were different from others. They were all law students. They were also very good at fighting because they were very calm and very good at debating. They were very good at finding loopholes in the other party's words, finding weaknesses, and then attacking them one by one and refuting them to the end. How could an ordinary person beat a lawyer? Although they weren't lawyers yet, they were all future lawyers. When they made their move, they really shocked everyone. The people who wanted to trip Fang Zhenxuan up at this time failed to compete for resources. They didn't expect that a group of organized and disciplined law students would appear among Fang Zhenxuan's fans. In fact, this was also outside of Chu Xiang's expectations. It was an unexpected surprise. She used her account to add various fan groups to understand, and found that Fang Zhenxuan had posted on the campus forum previously, asking if everyone was willing to help him. This was Fang Zhenxuan's request, and many people were his fans to begin with. They didn't treat this as help at all. They treated this as a charge to break through the enemy lines, treating this as a classroom exam. They even spontaneously discussed it on the forum. They felt that a group of law students like them couldn't let people bully their idol online. Of course they couldn't. They pushed out a few classmates who often chased after celebrities to take the lead, and soon, they became organized and disciplined fans. This time, when they saw that someone was spreading rumors, they immediately took action. It was considered a practice to control comments and anti-haters, and also to protect their idol. A celebrity who graduated from law school must not be bullied by anyone. Some netizens were unscrupulous, and these classmates would kindly educate them about the law. At the same time, they would tell them what kind of punishment they might receive for such words, and what kind of lawyer's letter they might receive. The success rate of the students' reporting was also very high. They knew what to report, so they wouldn't waste their energy and wouldn't let go of any excessive haters. With them charging in front, Fang Zhenxuan's fans were at a loss for a moment and immediately followed behind. Fang Zhenxuan's entire fan group became an organized and disciplined anti-haters group. The effect was better than Chu Xiang and Mr. Feng had expected. Moreover, the law students' words were reasonable and well-founded. How could the haters spread rumors without any real evidence? With such a logical analysis, most passers-by felt that this was the case. Moreover, there were a large number of passers-by fans that Chu Xiang had specially gathered today. The fans of the show, the fans of the replaced MC, and the other students who were involved in the action were all annihilated under the attack of such an organized group of law students' fans. The matter didn't last long and ended in a short afternoon. However, Fang Zhenxuan's name was on the hot searches several times, and even his law students' fans were on the hot searches. Such a fan legion was truly unprecedented and would never be replicated in the future. Some passers-by who were watching the show jokingly came up with a nickname. Fang Zhenxuan's fans this time should be called the Law Corps. When the law students saw it, they felt that it sounded pretty good. After some discussion, they really used this title. Even a few private fan groups were changed to Law Corps 1, 2, and 3. The other fans thought for a long time but couldn't think of any nice names. They felt that none of them were as impressive as the Shadow Law Corps. Thinking of the miracle created by the anti-haters today, they all requested to join the organization. As a result, Fang Zhenxuan's fans were officially named the Law Corps. No one would have thought that the big show where a lot of people went to stir up trouble and step on Fang Zhenxuan would be defeated by the law students just like that. This was a miracle of anti-haters in the entertainment industry, and it was also the best endorsement on the internet and in illegal places. In the past, there were fans who would tear each other apart at the slightest provocation. But that was because there were no legal people involved. This time, a large number of law students went down and warned them about the law at the slightest provocation. It actually made many people not dare to speak nonsense. After all, they were professionals. Who knew when they would be caught by them? Even the many black accounts reported by law students had successfully served as a warning to others. A new fan actually created a deterrent effect. It was simply a miracle in the entertainment industry. Combined with Chu Xiang's counterattack and Fang Zhenxuan's hot searches, the two of them were a little legendary. However, this legend wasn't serious enough. Everyone was just joking and didn't take it seriously. In the future, how far this pair of managers and artists could go would depend on their development. After all, the law wasn't omnipotent, and the entertainment industry wasn't something that anyone could control. After this incident, Fang Zhenxuan could be considered to have a place in the entertainment industry. He was often on the hot searches, had fans that couldn't be provoked, had good resources, and was good-looking. He really left a deep impression on people. As long as he could release his works quickly, who could say that he wouldn't be popular? Now many artists who were in his way and couldn't do anything about it were secretly hoping that his works wouldn't be good. However, Chu Xiang was personally in charge of the works, so of course she was confident. Fang Zhenxuan saw that the direction of public opinion on the internet was indeed going according to Chu Xiang's prediction. He knocked on her door opposite and gave her a plate of fruit. "Congratulations, Lord Chu Xiang. You've predicted it like a god and won another round." Chu Xiang ate a piece of watermelon and felt cool all over. "Isn't victory certain? Why did you change the way you address me again? What Lord de Rao? Isn't that what fans call me? I think it's quite accurate, majestic and domineering." Fang Zhenxuan deliberately pulled up some comments for Chu Xiang to see. Chu Xiang laughed and said, "How can I be as domineering as you? Even the army has come out. By the way, I haven't asked you yet. Why did you think of asking your classmates to be your fans?" Fang Zhenxuan said in surprise, "They're my fans to begin with. Don't you know? You don't think they're fake fans, do you?" Chu Xiang rolled her eyes at him. "Of course I know that you're the Prince Charming in school. I just didn't expect you to take the initiative to ask them to help educate you. Haha, this kind of criticism is really funny. It scared a lot of people." Fang Zhenxuan smiled. "As for me, I've always been embarrassed to see you busy. After all, we're partners. Of course, I want to help. Other than working hard to learn acting skills, this is the thing I'm most confident in. However, I really didn't expect that I would have so many fans. I thought I could only help a little. You've helped a lot. Find a chance to thank your army later. Fans are the most adorable people who like you the most. Jinchuan. Remember that you must be sincere to your fans. Be gentle and don't be irritable. Cherish them well. Chu Xiang reminded him seriously. As a superstar who once had countless fans, she cherished her fans very sincerely. Feng Zhenxuan also nodded seriously. Don't worry, I will definitely take good care of my fans. He thought of something and opened his Weibo to take a selfie. He asked, why do you have to make me take this photo on the sofa? What's the point? I've been thinking for a long time. Could it be that you've set up another trap? You like to use serial schemes the most. Chu Xiang laughed and went to the fridge to get a beer. You guessed it right, you fox. Come, let's celebrate today. As for the mystery in the photo, you'll naturally know when the time is right. For now, you just have to be a cabbage who doesn't know anything. Chu Xiang handed the cold beer to Feng Zhenxuan. Feng Zhenxuan touched it with his hand and disagreed. Have you forgotten how we met? You still dare to drink? It's still so cold. Drink some juice. I'll make you a cup. Chu Xiang blinked. Thinking that there was no spiritual energy in this world, she really needed to take good care of her body. She put down the beer. The fruit is in the fridge and the juicer is in the kitchen. You can go back and take the beer away later. I really shouldn't drink it. Feng Zhenxuan didn't expect her to listen, but he was very happy to see her listen. He rolled up his sleeves and went to work as a coolie. Chu Xiang sat back at the table and watched him busy with her hands holding her chin. She sighed. It's good to be young. I'm 8 years older than you, but I have to start paying attention to my body. Really? I miss the days when I could do whatever I wanted. Feng Zhenxuan looked up at her and couldn't help but laugh. You're so hungry for food? When I have time, I'll learn a few delicious dishes to cook for you. I'm quite talented in this area. Okay, then remember to learn. Chu Xiang was very good at cooking, but she still preferred to eat other people's dishes. This feeling of watching others busy was really good. Chu Xiang's operation was praised by people who knew the industry. From De Zhen's advertisement to the official variety show, Feng Zhenxuan stayed on the hot search for 3 times. In the end, De Zhen and Extreme Mode were satisfied. His fans also became famous. Presumably, other fans who were not very powerful would not dare to provoke him easily again. Moreover, this incident successfully eliminated the resistance risk of Extreme Mode, replacing Feng Zhenxuan. There was no noise because of Feng Zhenxuan's participation, which would ruin the popularity of Extreme Mode. Feng Zhenxuan's fans didn't even become hostile with the fans of the injured MC who quit. They maintained a peaceful and friendly state to the greatest extent. Things in the entertainment industry were like this. Once something happened and exploded, no matter whether it became a big deal or not, there was nothing to talk about in the future. The fans who cared about it couldn't raise the popularity. There was also Feng Zhenxuan's selfie. It was a high-definition close-up without makeup. This move was really amazing. In this era of justice, only those who were really strong enough dared to play like this, right? There were already agents who began to envy Chu Xiang for picking up a treasure. Chu Xiang opened Feng Zhenxuan's Weibo comment area and scrolled down. After scrolling for a long time, she saw a few comments. Find the secret from Xuanxuan's selfie. The window behind him shows a TV screen. He's watching a movie and it's the classic one. He's learning acting skills. He's so hardworking. Am I the only one who wonders why Feng Zhenxuan's residence is so good? That sofa is very expensive. The table and vase behind him are also very expensive. Didn't he work everywhere before? He just entered the entertainment industry and he earned so much? Chu Xiang's mouth curved. She closed Weibo and waited for the right time. Chen Lifeng had exposed so many scandals about her. Sooner or later, she would trample him to death. However, it was not the right time to fight. She would take it slow and quietly trample him to death. That was the best way to make him sullen. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.